Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another wild, crazy edition of Crime and Sports. As usual, we are going to get back into Rubin Carter here, the Hurricane. He's too much story for even 2 episodes to hold. We're spilling over into a part 3, and I'm not sure.
Hurricane. Yeah.
Hat trick. I'm not sure this is going to do it either. Like
Really?
There's a lot of stuff coming up here. Yeah. Well, he just went to prison, and that's the beginning, and then the whole fight to get him out, and all the celebrities and Bob Dylan songs and all this type of shit is a huge thing too, because there's retrials and it's a lot. So we'll talk about it. Where we left off, we'll get into very quickly. First, though, definitely head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your merch, get your tickets for live shows. Come see us. Come hang out with us. Do all of that shit. Oh, we can't wait. September 20th in Minneapolis is the next Small Town Murder live show. It's going to be our biggest one ever, so be a part of it. Hang out with us. Do that. Also, listen to our other show, in addition to Crime and Sports, and, of course, Small Town Murder. Listen to Your Stupid Opinions. Check that out, because goddamn it is it funny. You're going to hear about, this week we talked about a psychic that is hilarious. He will accuse you of murder, and it's funny as shit. So check all that stuff out. You definitely want Patreon, if you can't get enough. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports is where you get all of the bonus material.
Right.
There's hundreds of episodes of bonus stuff you've never heard back in the catalog that you get immediately. Anybody $5 a month or above, you get all that. You get new ones every other week. 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder, and we're going to give you all of that for the $5. That's how we do it. That's how we roll, goddammit. So this week, what you're going to get for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about the Duke lacrosse fiasco.
Oh, yeah.
The scandal has nothing to do with lacrosse, I promise you. We will not just try to figure out lacrosse stats, but
it's much grosser than that.
It's frat boys and strippers. That's what this is about. We're going to talk all about it. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about the whole Idaho murder situation with this Koberger guy who is just I don't like to judge, okay? I'm not going to judge people until court proceedings usually are out. But this guy is way too smug to not, you know what I mean? Innocent people are not this smug, and it drives me fucking crazy. Especially when there's DNA. They're not like, DNA, I don't know what you're talking about, obviously. Like, shut up, asshole.
He's very aware.
Oh, he's very aware, and I want to talk about this guy. I feel like he needs to have his knees taken out from under him, and I think we'll do that. So that is shutupandgivememurder.com. Also, you follow, but Patreon, do that. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports is where you get all of that, and you get a shout-out at the end of the regular show, where Jimmie will sure as shit fuck your name up.
Oh, you bet.
That's it. Let's get into this. Part 3, the Hurricane, Rubin Carter, and he has just been sent to prison and just written a book pretty much immediately upon going to prison. I feel like he's using his time wisely here.
Is it called Loose Balls?
No, that's the Jason Williams. That's
and everybody else. Yeah.
Another reference, and also the ABA story. Yeah, that came up from a meeting we had, which is somehow that loose balls came up in it, which is that's the kind of business meetings we have. Books like Loose Balls get thrown around in them. So this book is called The 16th Round, from number 1 contender to number 45472. So
what a great name.
That is amazing, man. So that's 1974. And also in 1974, May 2nd, 1974, there's a big article in the paper saying Rahway inmate meeting leads to transfer of 4. Meeting. I didn't know you could have an inmate meeting. Usually.
Just meet inmates only?
An inmate, like a team-only meeting, like closed door to the coaches type of deal.
Players only.
It doesn't seem like you can have a players-only meeting in prison because they usually keep you separated.
Inmate meeting is generally called a riot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
an uprising.
It's normally a criminal activity meeting, too much.
Yeah.
It says 4 inmate leaders at Rahway State Prison have been transferred quietly and quickly for organizing what prison authorities said was a potentially volatile meeting of prisoners. So a riot didn't happen, but it could have happened. Okay. Among the 4 were 2 of the best-known inmates in New Jersey, Thomas the Rabbi Trentino.
Yeah, what did.
I'm curious. I'm sure. He
wonder what he's in for, James.
4,000 circumcisions. That's what he did, the rabbi over here. And Rubin Hurricane Carter, of course. Both were moved Monday night to a special wing for troublesome prisoners. Now he's troublesome, too. Not only is he in prison, he's troublesome. At the Vroom building. Vroom, like a car.
Yeah. Like sponsored by Mazda.
Exactly. In Trenton, after allegedly calling a gathering of 200 prisoners Monday afternoon in a Rahway courtyard.
What are you trying to unionize? 200 prisoners?
Dude, if you see the guards... First of all, it's an almost middleweight champion of the world and a gangster are going to fucking organize a meeting of all these people. If you're the guards, let's say you're up in a tower and you look down and you go, why are they all gathering like that? That can't be good, right?
Right.
They're either going to attack each other or us, one of the two.
Is Oz? Is Poet about to read his new poem?
I was going to say,
what is happening?
Are they making a circle in the middle where people are going to have a breakdance battle? Because if not, we got problems here. This is a fucking issue.
Go bad.
This could be very, very bad. Maybe it's just battle rapping. It's okay. So they were both moved to this place, and the 2 other inmate leaders were shipped to other state prisons. So they got them the fuck out of there. Carter, one of the top, obviously, middleweights, serving life in prison. Last month, he was elected president of the prison council at Rahway. He's brand new there.
Holy.
But he's one of those guys that there's a big difference between I'm tough in prison and I'm a middleweight boxing contender.
Champion, yeah.
He will kick the shit out of anybody in that prison. I don't care how big they are. He knows how to fight. If you know how to fight like that, a top-level boxer.
I'm sure Tyson was the fucking president of the council also.
I remember when Tyson went to prison, people were like, let's see how tough you are now. No, people were coming up to him and asking him for autographs and shit. They were terrified of him in prison. Nobody fucked with him.
How tough you are now. We've seen how tough he is.
Huge deal. See how tough you are now. What, when he's fighting non-top contending professional boxers? Yeah, we are going to see how tough. He's going to kill people in there, for Christ's sake.
You think they're more desperate than he is? He lived the life that they live.
Yeah.
That's why he's going in there, for Christ's sake.
No shit, man. So Trentino, serving a life sentence for the 1963 sin strip killing of a Lodi policeman, recently gained attention for his accomplishments as a writer and painter. He is an officer of the council.
Very talented. Yeah.
This was a big thing in the 70s, by the way, and in the 80s, where they'd get in the 60s too. It started where they'd find these prisoners who were in there for murder or whatever the fuck it was, but they would be very talented at something. And for some reason, people thought, well, you can't be that talented at something and also be a murderer. That's impossible.
Is that right?
You can't be a good writer and a murderer. You can't be a great artist and a murderer. Or you could, but, you deserve another chance because obviously your art will take you above your need to murder. You know what I mean? And it usually doesn't work out well for the guys who actually did it. Like the Belly of the Beast guy. He wrote a book called The Belly of the Beast, which was, he wrote it in prison. It was all about being in prison. He had it smuggled out, while he was in there. So the book came out while he was in prison, and he was a good fucking writer. And he, made everybody go, holy shit, the prison system is terrible, and this guy's so smart. How's he in prison? And I'm talking so many people, celebrities and politicians and of all stripes too. This wasn't like a political everyone was like, we got to get this guy out of there. That's ridiculous.
You can't let that amazing mind go to waste?
Yeah, he's got a real contextual understanding of things, and there's no way somebody like that belongs in prison. But the problem is he was also an actual murderer, and when they let him out, within 6 months or something, he stabbed a waiter to death in a restaurant. It's like, yeah, he was a murderer, and you let him out because he wrote well. That's not.
Sure, he's a fictional character, but Hannibal Lecter was similar to, you know what I mean? Those guys exist.
That's what I mean.
They write it because it exists.
Yeah, you can be smart and a good writer and also want to fucking kill people. It's a thing that happens. So, I mean, this guy, he stabbed somebody to death pretty immediately and was sent right back. I made everybody look like an asshole. This was he came out and was like a celebrity. He came out like Damien Eccles, you know what I mean? He came out and was getting interviews and, everybody was helping him. He's got a book contract from a publisher and all this shit. Everything in life that could be going well for him. It wasn't like he was poor and he had to rob a 7-Eleven again or anything. It was literally he had everything he wanted, so he stabbed a waiter to death. He just wants to kill people. So they talk about the prisoners here in this particular gathering. I don't call it an uprising because it really wasn't. It was a meeting.
You could call it a conspiracy.
Conspiracy toward the goal of an uprising, possibly.
Yeah.
Well, they were trying to rally fellow inmates as a culmination of a recent campaign to get prison authorities to end a policy of segregating some prisoners and to end the use of cells known by inmates as the hole. So trying to get rid of solitary, which there's plenty of scientific and psychological and every other kind of research that says, well, that's torture. Yeah, you can't. You'd be better off just beating the people. It's less traumatic for them.
But if the punishment the society has given them is lock them away, sure, lock them away with guys that are also locked away. If they fuck up in there, how do you lock them away further? I guess it's alone.
It's
right?
Yeah, but the conditions of the whole, you can't throw somebody in a fucking concrete room naked with a bucket and say fucking sit here for an unknown,
undisclosed
unspecified amount of time till we come get you.
Crazy. Yeah,
that's anybody would tell you, a doctor would say that is way worse psychologically than if they just came in and beat him with a rubber hose for a few minutes and then left. That would be better. They could understand that and people could process that. But to be psychologically tortured like that, the whole is, it's not great.
And then you have to weigh the punishment that you were just given versus the punishment somebody else was given in here. And you go, well, mine wasn't even near as bad. That guy knifed somebody and he was in here for 3 weeks. I mean, I don't even know what day it is.
And that's the problem. They lose their days. And when you start losing that, you lose your humanity.
You
lose your humanity. You lose your fucking mind. And I know a guy who did 5 years in solitary.
That's crazy.
Not the whole, but in solitary. Yeah, he did 5 years because he was a gangster and he wouldn't fucking tell on his brother and a couple other people. And so they kept him in there thinking that he would flip eventually, and he never did. So they eventually let him out. But he did 5 fucking years in there. He's like, it fucked my brain up.
Because he knows how long his sentence was.
Yeah, exactly. He said it fucked his head up. I mean, that fucked his head all up. Took him a couple of years to get out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And those are generally where the lights are just on 24 hours a day, right?
Either
and you don't see the sun.
You don't see the sun. They're off. Yeah, a lot of times these are in the basement of the prison with no windows and no anything like that. This is not.
You don't know what day it is, what time it is. No. The lights have been on the entire time. It's cold in here. I don't have a blanket, and that's concrete I'm laying on.
And a lot of these states too. It'll be where the only human contact they have is somebody putting a fucking meal through a slot.
Right.
That's all they get.
You don't even see them.
You don't even see a hand. Yeah, and there's no that'll drive you crazy. You know, that'll do it.
I've slept on the ground before. As a kid, I've slept on the ground before, and it was no big deal. I was just like, big deal. As an adult, I can't watch TV on the ground.
No, Jesus, what is that? Fuck, all sorts of shit's hurting over here.
I can't crawl under a car and do work on it and then get out of there. That amount of time fucks my body up.
Yeah, you get up, you're like, I think there's a disc problem. I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
For 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. So here they said, according to the spokesman for the State Department of Institutions and Agencies, the 5:30 p.m. gathering of prisoners was permitted to proceed without interruption and led to no confrontation with guards.
That's nice.
However, the meeting was considered grounds for transfer of the 4 leaders. Like, this one worked out peacefully, but if they can get everyone to gather and talk, what if they all get them together and say, okay, let's fuck the guards up, and then we got 200 people attacking us with fucking shivs? That can't be good.
Yeah, this may not have been nefarious, but it doesn't mean the next one won't.
Yeah, so a spokesman for the department said a gathering of that size in a state prison is illegal because of the potentially explosive factor. Anyone who calls such a meeting automatically is charged with inciting, which is a little bit silly. You can call a meeting to talk. Yeah. That's what I mean. That's where.
And I suppose you could line that up with being stripped of rights too, constitutional rights of free gathering or free. What's the other one?
Speech and freedom to gather, freedom to assemble.
If you're assemble. If you've gotten. You can't even go to the grocery store, so you've gotten rights stripped already. So what's the difference?
Even the assembly, you need a permit for most of those if you're going to have anything like that. Otherwise,
technically, you're already assembled. We assembled you.
We assembled you all together. Here. You had no choice in who was involved in this meeting. We decided. The spokesman said the decision to remove the inmate leaders to avoid the possibility of trouble was made by what is called an adjustment committee, known by prisoners as a court line, composed of a guard captain, and a civilian employee of the prison. Well, it's good to see that there's people on both sides of that one. It's not just, oh wait, no, they all work together and they're all friends. So
they're all on the same side.
Yeah, can we bring somebody in from the outside who has nothing to do with shit, who can doesn't have to
somebody to represent us, maybe?
Yeah, well, somebody who's not going to get like the stink eye in the coffee room if they go against the other two, that's ridiculous. So they said the Vroom building is known as having the tightest security of all state prison facilities. One part is used to house the criminally insane, and another part part to the house is to house inmates charged with causing trouble at other prisons. So rabble-rousers and the batshit crazy are here.
Rabble-rousers and people that rabble-rouse and don't know it.
They're rioting and they don't even think they are. They're having their own personal riot 24/7.
Rabble-rousers to their own knowledge and to not. Under their own accord and not. Just doing it because.
Not. Prison is fucking so weird. Off the subject quickly. Prison's so fucking weird because we think of it as like this entrenched thing. Like, you do something and you go to this place in a building and they put you bars in front of you. But like, it's like a relatively new concept. Like long-term incarceration is not anything that like in history people did. Yeah. They would like do something to you. If you did this, you'd get a beating, you'd get something chopped off or whatever the fuck it was.
Adult corporal punishment.
But that was it. Then you went home. It wasn't like, well, 20 years, we'll just sit here and watch you. We
took his hand, but he gets to go home.
That's like a Western thing. We figured that out. De Tocqueville, who came over from France to look over, he wrote Democracy in America, which was like 1800s, a European's view of what's going on over here because they didn't have that over there. And he went around to prisons a lot because they didn't do that in Europe to that level. So he was trying to figure it out. And we went through like so many things of like, this is how you do prison. And then 20 years later, we're like, oh, no, that was terrible. That was terrible. Okay.
That was such a bad idea.
Let's do it this way. Like for a while, there was prisons where people weren't allowed to talk at all, ever.
Yeah. All right.
Ever. It was all solitary confinement in your cell. You had to work without talking, and then you went to your solitary cell, and all you had was a Bible, and that was it. Wow. They did that for a while. And then they went, oh, yeah, people are going fucking crazy and getting out and losing their minds because they can't handle it.
Isn't it weird that the criminal mind, when left to its own devices and unable to speak and let it out, gets crazier?
Then you're going to let them out, too, with completely diminished social skills and a criminal record and go, now do good in the world. Go ahead. Go get jobs and make a good living.
Incredibly frustrated.
Yeah. Don't talk for a day and see how weird you are. You know what I mean? Do that for 5 years and see how you are.
Let's frustrate an already angry individual. Angry frustration is way worse than just regular frustrated.
Oh, yeah, then you're really pissed off. Then you're in the criminally insane wing.
Yeah, that's rage.
That's not just crazy. That's angry crazy. So they said prisoners in this place are locked up all the time, almost all the time, and have little contact with other inmates. An inmate has 72 hours to appeal his transfer to the superintendent of the prison, and the case of anyone sent to the Vroom building is received every 30 days. So you can keep trying to get out. They keep reviewing you every 30 days to see if you can leave. Transferred in addition to Trentino and Carter in the wake of the convict meetings was Marvin Mathis, sent to Trenton State Prison, William Grimsley, who was sent to the state prison at Leesburg. Mathis, the leader of the Muslim inmates, is serving a life term for the 1965 shooting and torch slaying, of Stanley K. Caswell, an insurance salesman from North Plainsfield. What did he do to cross? What did he do to cross the Muslims? Jesus Christ!
My God.
So that's then September 28th, 1974. Rubin Carter asking for a retrial. Okay. So they're saying he's seeking a new trial now, he's got the legal stuff. Sure. He is saying now in an interview at Trenton State Prison, he said he was framed for racial reasons and because he actively fought for black rights. Now, I don't remember him fighting that much for black rights in our.
I didn't hear anything about it.
I didn't remember that. That wasn't in all of our coverage. It wasn't like Rubin is out there again marching with fucking Martin Luther King, Rubin is out there.
He did say he was going to march with him.
He said he was. Yeah, he was like for them, but I mean, a lot of people were. They weren't fighting for them.
I'm sure every black person was for them.
That's what I mean. I would hope so.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's about, but definitely he's in prison because he's just that's part of it. I think there. So lawyers for Artis, his other guy there that he was convicted with, and Carter said Friday they will file a motion and they want a new trial. Carter said the new developments in his case give him hope for freedom. He said, in the past 8 years, I've had to be content with just surviving. The way I feel today gives me a new desire to live. He's been in there for almost 10 years now. Wow. He went in, 66, I think? Yeah.
Oh, was it that long? I don't know.
Yeah. He said he was framed because of his activities on behalf of blacks in Patterson. He said it's not civil rights, it's human rights. It's the same rights I'm fighting for right here. So they said, are you resentful? And he said, bitter? That's a question better put to my wife who has lived without a man for 8 years, or to my daughter who's been without a father and who has had this stigma hanging over her. They're also doing hard time. That's true, too. That is very true here.
I love that he just thesaurused that question. That was impressive.
That was. He's a smart guy.
Bitter.
Bitter.
I know that word.
I'm bitter, full of ire, if you want to know, to be honest with you.
That was the word of the day. I know all kinds of synonyms for that one.
I'm feeling dyspeptic over this entire scenario. So
downright uncomfortable.
This new trial comes because the New York Times and WNEW-TV of New York confirmed by a New Jersey public advocate, Stanley Van Ness, that the two prosecution witnesses, Arthur D. Bradley and Alfred P. Bello, have recanted their testimony. Those are the people, literally the only thing they had was, I saw two black guys get in a white car. And that's those two guys that said they saw that from the neighborhood. And one of those guys was
walked out with money.
Was in the act of robbing the murder scene. And they were like, oh, we'll take his word for it rather than say
that guy.
rather than assume he did it because he's robbing them.
Unreal.
So that is what's going on here. So I guess Bradley, one of the witnesses, was arrested and subsequently released on $1,000 bail in Wayne Township of charges of possessing marijuana, which is fine in my book, and striking his mother Mary in the face, which, again, that's not okay. I would say don't do that. No. So during a family argument. So they're like, that guy's a piece of shit that hits his mother, and he also recanted his testimony. And those are really the only two witnesses they have.
Yeah, that'll leave you downright indignant.
Downright indignant and dyspeptic. And that's including the one victim who couldn't pick Rubin Carter out of the lineup.
Not good.
If we remember.
Not good at all.
Yeah. The state, though, is opposing Carter's retrial. They're going, nope, everything's fine. We're good.
Yeah, they're fine with it.
Yeah, State Attorney General also has said that he wants to resist it. The Attorney General also ordered that one of the recanting witnesses moved to Passaic County Jail was transferred immediately to Morris County Jail. According to Matthew Boylan, the head of the state's Criminal Justice Division, a joint motion for the transfer of Alfred Bello will be filed tomorrow and to move him somewhere. They said, "We are doing this so that Bello is not subjected to any risk. I will visit Passaic personally to see that the transfer is done." I guess they said because he said he recanted his testimony.
Right.
Bello, by the way, was serving a 9-month sentence for burglary because that's what he does.
Because he did it, yeah.
Because he did it. And it's not even that burglary. That was 8 years ago.
It's a different one.
This is another burglary. He's just a local scumbag. It should be Alfred Bello, local scumbag, comma.
Local thief, shit.
Local thief and scumbag. Bello's serving that. And I guess they signed sworn statements, both Bradley and Bello, saying that Passaic County detectives pressured them into saying they saw Carter and Artis.
Really?
Yeah, so they're going to have a hearing to see what's going on here. The Passaic County prosecutor has said that he will resist the retrial. The spokesman said, we will not step in to stop him. We are staying out of the case. The Passaic County. Okay. The spokesman also said the Attorney General will not order a special investigation of the Passaic County Prosecutor's Office, but rather will support that office in its own in-house investigation.
Oh, we'll handle it internally.
We'll look around and see what happened, and we'll clean up our own backyard, is what they just said.
No need to handle a different sentence. We got
Nope. You have engines hanging from trees and shit. Your backyard, you've had plenty of time to clean it up. It's ugly. Yeah. So they said the spokesman said the factors could arise which would make the Attorney General's office intervene in the retrial motion and the investigation of the prosecutor's office, but he would not say what those factors might be.
Yeah.
Okay. So they said Bello transferred jails, and the Bergen County Sheriff Joseph Job said that the transfer was initiated by the Bergen County jail warden. They said he did this without my knowledge or approval. He asked Passaic to accept him because Bello's presence was causing a commotion in the jail with all the reporters and television people. If I had known about the transfer, I wouldn't have allowed it. Why expose Bello to this kind of thing? Yeah, we're real worried about Bello being exposed to shit.
I mean, we got all right. Well.
Jesus. Another person said that, yeah, there's a lot of publicity, which are making people want to harm Bello, obviously, but at the same time, they're confident that all this publicity will keep him safe.
Oh.
Because, he's high profile, so no one wants to kill him. Okay.
Jeffrey Dahmer, how'd that work out for him?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's not as high profile a guy as you can get.
How many high profile prisoners, especially it's a bunch of fucking prisoners who don't care. If you're in for life anyway, you're like, well, fuck this guy. This guy also said, I don't give a damn about Carter and Artis. I'm in this for myself. I'm using the news media because as long as the story is big, nothing's going to happen to me. This is what Bello said. Mm-hmm. If I so much as catch a cold, they're in trouble. And the blacks aren't going to touch me before I talk in court.
Good
because
Lord.
They're going to want him to say that, he lied. So Hurricane can get out. This is fucking wild. The Passaic County Sheriff, I guess, Edwin J. Englehart, is running for re-election and has staked his reputation on ensuring Bello's safety. Wow. I love this part of the article. When it comes to playing the angles, Bello has been wrong before. He says he traded away his testimony against Carter and Artis in exchange for the promise of a $10,000 reward and police help in keeping him out of trouble. He says now that he never got the money and has had nothing but trouble since Carter's 1966 trial.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
He said a lot of things over the past 7 years may not be related directly to Carter and Artis, but indirectly from the animosity caused by the trial. The whites hated me because they think I got the money, and the blacks hated me because they think I lied.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said his ribs were broken once in a fight with a soldier while 2 Patterson policemen watched without assisting. He claims that another fight with 4 black people left an 8-inch knife scar on his shoulder.
Oh.
So he says that he tried working for his friends, but lost one job after another as police advised his friends of his criminal record. You know he's a scumbag fucking constant burglar, right?
He's one of the worst guys, right?
He's just terrible.
Bottom rung.
He said, I was working as a restaurant manager and the police came by. My friend says to me, and this is exactly from the paper, my friend says to me, look, Al, I like you and all, but if I keep you around, the police are going to come down on me. You know.
Oh. Can't
have him breaking my balls. He did like a De Niro and Goodfellas. The two of them commiserate, and I can't have it. You know what I mean? I can't have it.
If I keep you on, the cops, what, he's going to get traffic tickets? What have you done?
They're going to keep coming around and breaking balls because they want to fuck with you. So he said repeated disappointment drove him to, wow, what terrible writing in the newspaper here. Repeated disappointment drove him repeatedly to the bottle.
Yeah.
You just used repeated in the twice in fucking, there was only 2 words, 3 words between the 2 repeated. So it's not enough.
Forget his mistake. Where's your fucking copy editor, man? Come on. Jesus.
So many other words to use.
Yeah. Like, unbelievable.
That mean all the time and over and over. There's so many ways to do that.
Constant. Come on, man. Try.
Yes. It's, wow. In combination with medication he takes for chronic digestive problem, he said the alcohol often left him incapable of rational thinking and accounted for his return to jail several times since the Carter trial. Hey, you drink and do dumb shit. That's what that's called.
A ne'er-do-well out on the street drunk causes problems? Is that right?
And he said, quote, I had more money in my pocket than I took from that last bar I robbed. Well, then why'd you do it, stupid?
Yeah, if you had money, why are you stealing money?
Oh, my God. He said that this is from the paper, of Italian and Polish descent, the dark-haired, mustachioed Bello has come to regard much of his down-and-out life with the grim humor that is popular in prison societies. Quote, one time down in Tom's River, I slept in one of those Salvation Army bins for old clothing. I woke up the next morning and saw all these people outside in cars bringing clothes, and I thought, how the hell am I going to get out? They're all going to think I live in here.
They're gonna fucking cover me in their old Jordan.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he's just laying there. Oh, crap, that's a winter coat. I got to get that off my face. I'm going to suffocate. He said since the recantation of his, placing Carter at the crime scene, right? He received at least one letter postmarked Washington, D.C., and recalling the pardoning of former President Nixon and conditional amnesty for draft evaders, he opened it with glee. He was like, maybe it's a federal pardon.
For me, yeah.
On a state robbery charge? What the hell is... No.
Uh-oh.
He said, I thought, oh boy, Washington. But it was only a pamphlet from some Jesus freak telling me that I may be here in the slam, but God was watching over me. That's just what I needed. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in there with you. Enjoy.
He said he also had a visit in jail from the other star prosecution witness against him, Arthur Dexter Bradley, the other guy who said he saw Carter get into the car. Bello says, quote, he says, Al, I feel great. and he wants me to go on television with him. I kicked the jerk out. Get out of here. He also said that Bello and Artis's appeal team of attorneys and investigators here from the public defender's office had attempted to make friends with him. He said they speak of possible television appearances, movie ventures, and helping him publish his short stories and poems, meaning Bello, not Carter. Yeah. He said, but I'm not interested in any of that stuff because unless they come across with some cash.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Money.
It's literally his quote.
Right.
Yeah, bring me cash. I don't want any of this opportunity bullshit. He's like a comic going, don't tell me it's for fucking exposure. Don't give me that bullshit.
Not even your
I don't
pizza.
care.
Give me money.
Great. Yeah, you'll put me on your Instagram feed. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. $20. That's like a open mic.
Your last TikTok went viral, but your most recent one has 300 views. Fuck off.
Not great. He denies that his recantation, which Hogan has on tape and film, was motivated by money, however. He said that he simply decided that with his own distaste for jail, it would be a shame for two men to spend the rest of their lives in prison without a chance for a second trial. He said, nobody could ever come to me and say there wasn't a break for them, that I kept them in jail. He goes, hey, you know me, I stay out of it. You know what I mean? Okay.
It's not my business.
So, yeah, this comes in the paper that, there's the big recanting of the whole thing. And he just keeps saying he thought he was getting 10 grand.
Okay.
And Bello said, all I said was I saw two black men. That's what he said he told the cops. I said I saw two black men. And they said it was these two, right? And pressured me.
All right.
And Arthur Bradley kind of says the same thing. He said, I didn't see what I said I saw. I didn't see Carter and Artis that night.
Uh-oh.
Bradley said he lied because, quote, I was facing a lot of charges. And he said he was told that the authorities involved would get him easier sentences if he testified against Carter, which happens all the time.
Sure.
They bring people in on drug half of the major crime solvings are because they caught somebody with a fucking bag in their pocket. That's it.
Sure.
They pulled over some guy or they picked up some guy on the side of the fucking road, searched him, brought him in and said, how'd you like to get out from under these charges? And they start saying
anything else? Yeah.
That's how it works. So, wow. Bello also said that he was told to leave Patterson after the trial, and he was under severe pressure during many of the hours he was questioned. So there's hearings about this, and the hearings resume with cross-examination of Bradley. He and Bello are being held in the Hudson County Jail until the hearings are completed. So they said they did it all to stop me from testifying on this appeal, Bello said. That's why they transferred him jails and do all this shit. He said, they're trying to fuck with me so I don't do this.
Right.
December 12th, 1974, judge denies Rubin Carter's bid for retrial of murder conviction, even though they had a hearing where the only two witnesses they had recanted their testimony.
Oh, boy.
They still said, nope, it's good. That's what's so fucked up. The difference between right before they say guilty and right after they say guilty are monstrously different. So that is fucking crazy. The Superior Court Judge Samuel A. Larner, hopefully he's dead by now, who presided over the trial here, he denies a new trial, and the new evidence was revealed, obviously, by the New York Times, who got the info from Bello and Bradley, and then they had a hearing about it. In dismissing the bid for a new trial, the judge said, quote, that ring of truth is totally absent in the recantation of both witnesses. After a complete review of the evidence at trial and the post-trial hearing, the court finds that Bello's recantation is simply unbelievable. How? How is it any more unbelievable than I saw those two as I was robbing the place where the murder happened?
100% didn't see them.
Wow. Fucking A. Now, of this, Rubin says, quote, I wasn't expecting anything to come from this man, meaning the judge. This judge has shown me consistently in the past that he was totally against me. The judge clearly thinks he's guilty and doesn't like him. So the original trial judge hears motions for new trials under New Jersey court rules at the time. Okay. So Carter claimed Larner, the judge, was prejudiced against him. He said from the outset he was so personally involved that he couldn't in all good conscience do anything for me. He said, the judge went on to say, if mere recantation in itself dictates a new trial, the entire judicial process could be frustrated by the mere whim of a witness recanting his testimony.
Yeah, that's why you have to have great fucking police work.
That's the thing. And it's all also evidence is if that's your only evidence, then
That's a problem.
That's a fucking problem. And just because it's inconvenient for the court system, that's like saying, well, we can't have people coming in and out of. Yeah, you do actually, because the point of the court system is to have guilty people in jail and not guilty people not in fucking jail. Don't just say, well, that would bring up a whole lot of extra paperwork that we don't feel like doing, so we'll let people sit in prison for 40 years? The fuck are you talking about?
We got one done, so we can't undo it just because that guy unsaid some shit.
That's, wow, yeah, sorry. Unbelievable. It's be so much paperwork. We just don't want to do it.
We can't. That's a lot of whiteout.
I'm not going to do all that.
Well, I think the bigger problem is that what they're worried about, obviously, what it feels to me, is that there's lawsuits involved, and that breaks the.
Oh,
that's
too.
A lot of money that goes back into these people.
Too.
That we just put all this money out to convict him. Now we're going to have to give that person money because we violated their rights.
Oh, you know how we could solve this? By
maybe
convicting guilty people better. Yeah,
right.
That would be a good thing, and not convicting people who aren't guilty. That would help. Yeah, then you would have no problems with that. So they said the court must, but then everyone says you're being soft on crime because, this person got off. Well,
I don't know.
What the fuck do you want?
Yeah, it's hard to. Soft on crime is solid on fucking human rights? What are we talking about?
It's not soft on crime if you're the defendant. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, I want every bit of fucking benefit of the doubt I can get here. But when it's someone else outside looking in, you're like, oh, well, don't be soft on crime. Okay, well.
I think we're a little soft on what qualifies somebody as a cop.
Yeah.
That's what I think we're soft on.
We're soft in the fucking head at this point.
We got a lot of out-of-shape motherfuckers wearing a badge and a gun. That's not good.
That could be bad too. So they said the court must determine whether the new testimony is true and the trial testimony false by application of a standard of reasonable probability.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's reasonably probable that a guy who's facing fucking burglary charges or other charges gets put in and said, hey, if you say it's these two, then we'll drop the charges and you get $10,000.
Yeah.
It's reasonably probable that that guy might fucking lie for that to both get out of trouble and make money.
Yeah. It's reasonably probable that a man leaving a murder crime scene with handfuls and pocketfuls of cash has
Pilfer,
reason
with blood on it.
has plenty of reason to fucking lie.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but most people, even if they wanted to go rob the cash register, anybody who's not a total scumbag would walk in and go, oh, my God, there's dead people all over. Oh, Jesus, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And you turn around and leave. You wouldn't be like,
what kind of piece of shit fills his pockets on that opportunity?
He said, cool, no one's watching the register. Sweet.
There are no fucking witnesses here.
That's fucking crazy. So they said that Bello, currently in county jail still here, saying that he testified at the original trial that they were attempting a break-in at a sheet metal firm a block from the bar, and testified that he saw Carter and Artis outside the bar with guns after the murders and the bar. So there you go. That's what they're saying here. They said that this is Passaic County Prosecutor Joseph D. Gurley, Gourley, whose office handled the murder case and appeals. He says that the ruling against Carter gives a certain vindication to the office. That's how they're looking at it. It's personal for them. That's what I mean. That's the other problem. It can't be personal.
Yeah.
It has to be, I tried to do my job, and I guess it was wrong, so good. I'm glad that this person's not in jail.
But
I get that's not human nature, but...
Right. You got to look at it as... it's good when you take ownership of a project, and any misstep you take as personal to yourself, but you got to put your work in and then let the team compile theirs and build the best house possible.
Well, he basically said, we don't want to look like jerk-offs over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's all he just said.
That's a framer being pissed that the concrete guy didn't build the right foundation. I don't know, man. Don't be mad at them. Don't be mad at yourself over that.
Not my fault. So this guy, the prosecutor, went on to say that he felt all along that the law enforcement official accused of coercion were not those two guys were not the type of individuals who would resort to that type of activity to get a conviction. Yeah. So I looked at their character and said they wouldn't do that.
No, never.
Yeah, the prosecutor refused to rule out the possibility of perjury charges against Bradley and Bello. He said some prosecutor might look into that once all appeals have run their course. So they're going to get them for perjury in the hearing, saying that they recanted their testimony. That's what he's talking about, which is, wow, that is fucking insane, man. Absolutely insane. So February 13th, 1975, a Superior Court judge again rules that he cannot have a retrial again.
Yeah.
So he is fucked, man. But a Madison Avenue advertising executive, George Lois, organizes a campaign on Carter's behalf because this is playing out in the New York Times every day.
Yeah.
So these people are reading this going, hold on here, the two witnesses, what the fuck is going on here? So that will make a lot of people go, this doesn't seem correct here.
Right.
And this leads to increasing public support for a retrial or even a pardon people want out of it. They don't know. Muhammad Ali comes in to the fray here and lends his support to the campaign as well, including publicly wishing Carter good luck on his appeal while doing an appearance on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson in September of 73.
Carson. Wow.
So everybody saw that shit. I mean, that's big. So then 1975 November, that is when the Hurricane song comes out. And that's, you can see it here or there, but when it comes out, that song is everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's Bob Dylan, so he's very famous. And I fucking can't stand this song, by the way. It's really annoying.
Is it
it's
bad?
Fucking annoying. This is the story of the hurricane. You'd know it. You've watched Family Guy. Do you remember when Stewie walks out of the high school when he was pretending he's cool and he walks out nude? They're playing it in the background.
I don't remember that.
Well, you got to know the song. Wow, you don't know the song?
Oh, do you want to play it?
Go ahead.
Can we?
We'll play it in the background for 10 seconds. That's fine. We can't play it for 3 minutes and be like, this is... Please click on our shit here. There were some people saying that they were like, these guys say that they don't like Bob Dylan and Neil Young, but they like Bob Seger. And it's like, yes.
I like Neil Young. I fucking love that guy.
I can't stand his voice. His voice is possums being run over by a fucking Ford Festiva. It's terrible.
I fucking love Ohio, and I love
Ford
Festiva. What is that car?
Because it's not just going to smash them. It's very light, so it'll just injure them to where they're going...
Just beat them up over and over again.
That's all you're going to hear.
Yeah.
Again, great writers, both of them.
Yeah.
Can't sing.
I fucking love him.
He's a fucking terrible singer.
I
You can't say he's a good singer. Though.
I don't
say that.
You know what? Maybe it just makes me feel like maybe I can sing.
That's maybe what it is.
I don't know.
Neil Young's one of those guys that I feel like, yes, you can say you like him because I like some people who don't sing very well, but you can't say what a good singer he is because he's a fucking objectively horrible singer.
I don't think I've ever thought, boy, I could put this one up against
He's at the voice of an angel, this one. Look at him.
Boy, does he sound so much like Sam Cooke.
Is this Sinatra or is this? It's Neil Young. Okay, I didn't realize.
Is that right? I
thought it was Sammy Davis Jr. I didn't realize. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a good Bob Dylan, but it's all fucking. All of these have. It's all on a TV show. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Don't show me it on a show.
Every Bob Dylan song that you can you go, well, there's a better version of it that someone else did. Yeah. So again, great writer, but
really, I
he wrote
Rolling Stone. Yeah,
he wrote fucking a couple of Jimi Hendrix songs that are big. He wrote All Along the Watchtower. He wrote a bunch of shit that's like big songs that just other people did better because they could sing and all. What?
Oh, never mind.
You're finding. What? That was a revelation. I stopped dead in my tracks. I was like,
yeah,
what
my
happened,
eyes just
Jimmie?
went, what? Oh, this song?
Wow.
No, I said Rolling Stone, and it was the song that was playing. I was like, wow, this song?
Yeah, that's
and then it started playing, then the lyrics started. I was like, oh, that's not it.
So did you find Hurricane? You going to play it?
I got it, yeah.
Yeah, play it in the background.
I don't know why it's not. I don't know why
play it
it's
from
not
your
playing.
side.
Yeah.
I like how you sit here with the thing in front of you, and this is all you use it for. It's like, oh, look at that.
It's only playing in my headphones. That's kind of nice.
Take your iPod away.
I guess I do know this song.
Yeah, it's one of those songs that you've heard, and you go, oh yeah, that's what he's saying. That's the other thing too. Bob Dylan's hard to understand sometimes.
That's a great point.
You're like, what the fuck is he talking about? Oh, the story of the hurricane. Okay, now I'm hearing you. I got it. So.
There's a lot of songs like that, though, that you hear it and then you find out the lyrics and you're like, oh, wow.
I didn't know
I guess that is it. Yeah.
So Carter maintaining his innocence in his autobiography, that's how Dylan got a hold of him because Bob Dylan read his autobiography and believed him. And so he visited him at Rahway.
Oh.
He came and visited him. And they said that an author wrote about Dylan, that Dylan had written topical ballads such as The Lonesome Death of Hattie Carroll, and Bob wasn't sure that he could write a song about Carter. He said he was just filled with all these feelings about Hurricane. He couldn't make the first step. I think the first step was putting a song in a total storytelling mode. They said, I don't remember whose idea it was to do that, but really the beginning of the song is like stage directions, like what you would hear in a script. Pistol shots ring out in a barroom night. Here comes the story of the hurricane. Boom, titles, like a movie. You know, Bob loves movies, and he can write these movies that take place in 8-10 minutes, yet seem full or fuller than regular movies.
8-10 minutes? Who
8-10
wants a
minutes.
song that long?
Bob, chill out. If I have to hear you screech for 10 minutes, I'm going to blow my fucking brains out. Can't do
it's
it.
fascinating how he's aged. He looks like Cloris Leachman now.
No, he does.
So
He's very
fucking old.
Cloris.
God
yeah, I wonder if he's funny now. That would be if he just turned into Cloris Leachman.
That old lady used to be Bob Dylan. That's crazy.
She wrote The Hurricane. So this was after Dylan met with Carter and a group of his supporters. He started writing that. This is one of the few kind of political action protest type songs he wrote in the 70s. That was more of a 60s thing for Dylan. This did reach number 33 on the Billboard Hot 100 too. It was a
James,
big
maybe that's
song.
what it is. You don't like guys that sound like shit and try to get change. It's like
I don't mind change. I love the change.
I agree with you, but I can't agree with you because you sound like shit.
Yeah, get him to say it. That's what it is. I agree with
Get
you.
Crosby, Sir Stills to
Get
sing
one
it.
of those people to say. Get Jimi Hendrix to say it. He's like, wow, that's fucking rocks.
I'll
Shit,
settle
yeah,
for
I
Nash.
hear you.
Just get it out of this guy's
Get the
fucking
fuck
mouth.
out of here. I don't care who the hell does it except for them. Give it to somebody else. Have him say it. No, you know what I mean? Like if you're hideous, then you're a speech writer. You're not the candidate. You know what I'm saying?
It's all right to be that
That's
guy.
the way it goes. It's fine to be that
The
guy.
writer probably makes more money. Just write it.
Just do your deal. So Billboard declared that it was probably the most powerful Dylan song that he's recorded in a decade, combining the sensible hate he showed in Masters of War with a perfect expression of the kind of injustice heard in The Lonesome Death of Hattie Carroll. Record World said that the story is true and the names haven't been changed to protect the innocent. Okay. So Dylan first recorded the song in late 1975, and I guess it featured... They had to redo the song, basically. He was forced to re-record the song with altered lyrics in October of 75 after concerns were raised by Columbia Record Company's lawyers that references to Alfred Bello and Arthur Dexter Bradley, who were the two witnesses, as having robbed the bodies could result in a lawsuit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, Bello did rob the bodies. That's the thing. Bradley didn't rob the bodies, but he robbed the bodies of justice. It's a song. There's a lot of ways you can
There's
take
a lot of
lyrics.
nuances.
It's
Yeah,
art.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't paint a picture and sue somebody because you don't like the depiction of the picture, because they can say that's not what I'm depicting. I'm just not as good of an artist as you think I am, and it looks like that. So that's pretty crazy.
And freedom of speech and shit, apart from accusations, but art is mute. Come on, man.
Yeah.
How many times do they say shit in songs that isn't
Give me a
necessarily
fucking break.
true? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't
It's a
think
fucking
she was
song.
actually poisoned, James.
That's what I mean. It might have been 10 o'clock on the Swatch Watch, but she wasn't poisoned. We don't know if she was poisoned or not. Things could be true and some things could be false. That's what I mean. We don't know.
If
There's
we're
no way to
taking
know.
everything dead ass serious, somebody better lock up Busta Rhymes for writing that lyric about the girl being underage and backstage.
And got us all in check at the same time. This is bad. We got to be careful about him. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you could take any fucking, any 90s rap song and everyone's going to prison. There's 12 murders in
all
every
in
song.
trouble.
So I don't know if Bello robbed the bodies, but he robbed the cash register just to do that. They said there was too much leakage on the multi-tracks to make a vocal punch-in. Dylan decided to re-record the entire song. And at this time, he was already rehearsing for an upcoming tour. And so he was doing this. He took a violinist and a guitarist and a bassist and a drummer and other people, and they had that's the song you hear is a faster version of the Hurricane.
Okay.
The original one was a little bit more of ballady. Whereas this is kind of, it's got that, It's got that fucking whatever in the back there.
The original was more like Steve Earle's fucking Billy Austin, just real slow.
Walking down the road with a scum trail in his wake. Stevie, you're a scumbag. Whoa.
Real piece of shit.
Real piece of shit. So they did that. It's a pretty long song, too. The final version of the song, which runs over 8 minutes.
Golly.
That's what I mean. It's too much. We're spliced together from 2 separate takes completed on that day. They said, though, even though some of the offending lyrics were removed, the song still drew legal action from eyewitness Patricia Graham Patty Valentine, who's the Bella's girlfriend, who believed that it portrayed her part of a conspiracy to frame Carter. However, her lawsuit was dismissed by a federal district court, and the U.S. Court of Appeals affirmed the dismissal, because it's a song.
Right.
And it's not a fucking statement. It's literally put to music and could mean anything.
At that point, if she drags it out long enough, she's going to end up getting hit with legal fees. That could ruin her whole fucking life. What an idiot.
That's a dumb thing to do. And it's, I mean, did Jimi Hendrix fucking chop a mountain down with this? No, probably not. No, you know what I mean? Like, you could just say anything on a song. That's part of it. So a Dylan biographer praised the song, but noted there was no reference to Carter's antagonistic rhetoric, criminal history, or violent temper. And that's the thing. The song makes it sound like this guy was coming from church with a Bible in his hand, and the SWAT team came and put him in jail, and he'd never even been to the bar like that or anywhere else.
And he was just on his way to go train for his next fight.
That's all it was. That's what it sounds like. And so when you hear that, Rubin Carter was a pretty good criminal before that, then you go, oh, well, maybe that's bullshit. Maybe he did kill the guy. But being a criminal doesn't make you a murderer is the difference.
It certainly makes you respect and understand why he was under suspicion.
That's the thing. Yeah, you could say let's round up the ne'er-do-wells in the neighborhood, but then once the person who got shot says that's not the guy who shot me, then you move on to something else at that point. That's
continue the investigation.
That's exactly. In December of 1975, Dylan performed the song at a concert at Trenton State Prison where Carter was an inmate at the time.
Okay.
So that'll make you cool in prison, though, if the guy who came to perform for you is singing a song about you. That's
right.
That's pretty fucking. There's a lot of people going, "Hey, I'm innocent too." Can you write?
Yeah.
My name's Bill. Can you write anything about the story of Bill? Is there anything there?
Lawyer fucked me.
I don't have a cool nickname. Lawyer fucked Bill. Is that a good song? I'll try to jot some lyrics down. You can figure it out from there. I don't know the melody really, but
a lot of things rhyme with Bill. If you look in the dictionary, I'll bet you'll find a lot.
Bill, he didn't kill. You can figure it out from there.
Did not rob the till. You know what I mean?
All that stuff. Just keep it going.
No blood was spilled. Come on, I can go all day.
Didn't dump her in a landfill, all that shit. So during the fall tour preceding this release of this album here, the Dylan and the Rolling Thunder Review played a benefit concert for Carter in Madison Square Garden and raised $100,000 for his defense. The following year, they played another benefit at the Houston Astrodome for, again, toward his defense here.
The whole tour. Jesus.
Yeah. Dylan met with managers Richard Flanzer, Roy Silver, who provided Stevie Wonder, Ringo Starr, and Dr. John for the concert as well.
Unbelievable.
After expenses were paid, though, the Houston event failed to raise any money. So New York got $100,000. Houston, they made nothing off of it.
Stevie made some cash, though.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So he didn't know it, but he made some cash.
Yeah, they paid him $100.
They're like, this is a lot of money, Stevie. He's like, okay.
They were just ones. They were just
cool.
Singles.
Sounds good. December 11th, 1975. They say that his case may soon be decided, is what the newspaper says here. Assemblyman Eldridge Hawkins has turned over a final report on his investigation of the Rubin Carter John Artis murder conviction to the governor. So Governor Brendan T. Byrne, who they have the Brendan Byrne Arena is named after there outside of the Meadowlands, was expected to give the report weight and consideration of whether to grant clemency to Rubin Carter and John Artis serving prison terms for 3 murders in a Patterson bar. Now, Hawkins is the chairman of the Assembly Judiciary Committee, delivered the report to Byrne at the governor's office, and Hawkins, the Assembly guy, said that he thought that Carter and Artis were entitled to a new trial, and his report states such.
Got it.
Now, Carter's lawyer, January of 76, in the newspaper, says that suppressed evidence is what put his client in prison.
Oh.
Yeah, the attorney said that his client was sent to prison through a massive and purposeful suppression of evidence that could have helped his case. I mean, that's, yeah. He said the prosecutors were trying to protect the credibility of witnesses, Alfred Bello and Arthur Bradley, who said they saw them running away. Defense attorneys at the trial were never told that the detectives promised the witnesses they would be treated lightly for the break-in they were committing at a nearby warehouse. Now, also at the same time, this is also Carter's lawyer's fucking job to do research, to know that these motherfuckers have gotten arrested, and then to ask them, were you promised anything in this? And then they would say, yes, a lighter sentence, and then you could weigh the information.
Sure.
So that's also shit lawyering at that point.
But what lawyer was he given? Was it a state lawyer or was it a pay lawyer?
No, he had a pay lawyer. And he said he didn't know and they weren't told, but you should have been looking into it. If you have two witnesses that say he saw them there, I'm going to try to look into everything about these witnesses and take them the fuck apart because that's all they have.
Right.
That's what a defense attorney does. So look at the OJ trial. They took
every person.
If fucking someone who was just walking the dog saying, I heard a dog barking, they fucking broke that guy down. We knew his whole television schedule. We knew he watched we knew he watched Nick at Night at 10 o'clock. Like, we knew every fucking thing about this guy.
Poor bastard.
Poor guy. He is. That guy telling his TV schedule is like the saddest thing. He goes, I watch Mary Tyler Moore, and then Dick Van Dyke is on.
A little night court.
This was before, it was the 90s. So he goes, and I take the dog for a walk, and I come back, and, there's another Dick Van Dyke, and I watch that. I do that every night.
I do a double take, a dick.
Double dick take, I do. So, they said that he wasn't told of this. Yeah. So now they assert that the omissions were crucial and that they were required under the U.S. Supreme Court decisions in force at the time of trial. So they said they were required to tell us this shit. Now, that's a different – you should have looked into it, but if they're required to tell you, then that's a different story. They also asked their clients be freed on bail while the high court decides the case. I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, boy.
Now, the Passaic County prosecutor, Burl Ives – yes, Burl Ives, not Burl Ives, Burl Ives Humphreys – said there was no conspiracy to withhold evidence. He said defense attorneys did not attempt to bring out evidence of a deal that might have called into question the credibility of the witnesses because it didn't fit their defense strategy.
Yeah.
Under close questioning by the 7 Supreme Court justices, they said that the evidence never came out might justify sending the case back for a new trial if the original trial has been a close case. They contended that the original trial did not depend on the testimony of Bello and Bradley. What other evidence did they have? We went through it.
Yeah.
And then they also said, this is the prosecution side, there was ample other evidence to support the convictions. Like what? Name one thing.
That they're alive.
Yeah, they're alive and they're black and they live in Passaic, New Jersey. Like, otherwise, I don't know what the fuck other evidence there is.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
They went through the whole fucking thing. They didn't have guns. They had no matching ballistics.
Nope.
One guy was still wearing the same outfit that he fucking had gone out in and had not a speck of blood on him, even on his shoes. And the floor was probably flooded with blood with 3 people bleeding out in a small room.
One guy's wearing fancy-ass specific shoes and no blood on them.
Specific.
Gold. Fucking gold shoes.
Very weird. So they said that's wild. There was ample other evidence. He cited other witnesses' identification of the car used in the holdup as the one they were found there, and bullets found in the car matched the murder weapon, but they weren't the same bullets that killed the people. Yeah. They were the same caliber of bullet that killed. Very different. Yeah. In rebuttal to this argument, the defense side said that a grand jury returned no indictments after Bello and Bradley came forward several months after the crime. So they said maybe that's part of it. They said obviously they were that's when they did issue the indictment. Yeah. It was until witnesses, that's when you got the indictment. So the defense says obviously they were the keys to the case. Let's be honest here.
For sure. Yeah.
Somebody's saying I think I saw them in a car that matches the vague description of it. Yeah.
And you brought those bullets to the DA and they said, and?
Yeah, and?
Show me much more.
This is not enough. They don't match.
And so they on second search of the car?
That's
Keep
the
going.
other thing.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yeah, you found that later? Okay. That's the other problem. The prosecution side also argued that the promises made to Bello and Bradley were made by a detective, not the prosecutor, and were not strong enough to cause the jury to change its verdict if it had known about them. I disagree with that. I think maybe that would have helped a little bit. Now,
and the detective gave them their deal and then went to the prosecutor and was like, I told them this, so...
Yeah, that's
not good.
If you ever watch an interrogation, the detective has no power to offer anything, even a reduction of charges on something big like a murder. Yeah. If it's a drug charge or something, they cut you loose. That's fine. But if it's a murder,
there's
you're not
nothing they can do. That's
and they even
else's,
say that's for the prosecutors to decide. And I can't offer you a deal here in this room, but I can tell you that if you tell me, I'll go to those prosecutors and say what a good guy you are, and you're the perfect guy for a deal.
I'll do the best I can to help.
Yeah, it's the Justice
Let me
Morris.
help
Yeah. Justice Morris Pashman observed that the U.S. Supreme Court decisions applying at the time had held that undisclosed promises of lenient treatment need not be concrete, definite, and unequivocal. So it doesn't have to be anything in writing. You just had to offer that out to somebody that needs to be disclosed. That's retrial. I mean, it's pretty obvious here.
Yeah, it's pretty bad evidence.
Fuck yeah. So they said the defense said that they scarcely mentioned the recantations Bello and Bradley made in 1974 that started this whole thing. They said of all the issues we are raising, although we think the recantation is sufficient in itself, that is the least. Much stronger is the massive scheme of suppression perpetrated by the prosecutor's office and the evidence they failed to disclose.
Right.
He also said that he was convinced Carter and Artist were victims of a conspiracy, but he added that the failure to provide the evidence would dictate a new trial just as strongly if the omission were accidental. Doesn't matter if it's even has to be a conspiracy. If it happened, you got fucked. That's it. Period.
Wow.
So it's fucking ridiculous. So they entered into the case. They entered the case only after the judge refused to grant a new trial, ruling that the changed stories of Bradley and Bello did not have the ring of truth. That asshole, if we remember, the ring of truth guy here. Yeah. So yeah, now they're looking at it again, and Jesus Christ, I don't understand this at all. I really don't.
That seems pretty open and shut, right?
Yeah, it seems like it. They talk about the movement behind Carter. Ali's involved. Joe Frazier's involved. Yeah. Ellen Burstyn, for some reason, is involved. The actress, Bob Dylan, all these different people. So Carter and Artis have consistently maintained they are innocent and they were railroaded, and that's the problem. Now, during the hearing on the recantations, the defense attorneys also argued that Bello and Bradley lied during the trial, telling jurors they had made only certain narrow, limited deals with prosecutors in exchange for their testimony. A detective taped one interrogation of Bello in '66, and when it was played during the recantation hearing, defense attorneys argued that the tape revealed promises beyond what Bello had testified to. If so, the prosecutors either had a Brady obligation. If you've heard anything about true crime, you hear a lot about Brady. Brady is you're not giving exculpatory evidence to the defense.
Yeah.
That's a Brady violation, or it's their duty there. So the judge, though, denied the second argument as well, but the New Jersey Supreme Court unanimously held that the evidence of various deals made between the prosecution and witnesses, Bello and Bradley, should have been disclosed to the defense before or during the trial and could have affected the jury's evaluation of the credibility of the
Get a look at your files.
If you're a juror sitting there, by design, you don't know any of the people testifying. So you don't know how credible they are. So the only way to know how credible they are is by their deeds and their actions and what they present. And if you find out that they've made deals and stuff, then that takes away. I'm sure you sit there on a jury with a pros and cons column, like lie and truth column. This guy seems honest for this reasons. He seems dishonest for this reasons, and you weigh it out. So they said the defendant's right to a fair trial was substantially prejudiced, the justice said, and the court is now trying to get them a new trial here. Okay, now they say they're going to get a retrial. That's what they're saying. The New Jersey Supreme Court said they're going to get a retrial. The prosecutor decided that he will try Carter and Artis again on a retrial. He said that he did not use perjured testimony and that Bello had been polygraphed and by two different people, and that he was telling the truth. So both men concluded that Bello was telling the truth when he said he had seen Carter outside the Lafayette immediately after the murders. And we all know that lie detector people, polygraph examiners go to the detectives and say, what do you want it to say? Because I can say it says anything. I mean, what are we talking about? We're interpreting fucking a Van Gogh painting. It can mean anything.
These are just heart rate peaks. That's all that is. Emotions that he feels. And we can make it mean anything.
That's that. So January 21st, 1976 here. 76. There's a little interview here with Rubin Carter here. And they say, question, I heard Bob Dylan and Muhammad Ali were supposed to team up on a couple benefits. Oh, no, this is asking the paper about the benefits. People call like writing into the paper. And I didn't hear any more about it. What happened? Did they help Carter? And they said, yes, they were held on successive nights, $100,000 for his legal costs and all of that kind of thing. Ali was booed at the Garden for introducing a friend of his, a political candidate, from the stage, a gesture that also displeased Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because let's not bring that into it.
Don't take this moment for this. Jesus.
Yeah. So at Clinton, the inmates received the music of Joni Mitchell, another of the star performers, with coldness, prompting her to snap, "We came here to give you love. If you can't handle it, that's your problem."
Joni, calm down.
Prison. What did you expect from your fucking... What did you expect from your, like, nice songs? It's a fucking hundreds of prisoners. That's not what they're here for.
Woodstock?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's seen what people are capable of. Come on.
Yeah, well, what were they capable of? Fucking and doing drugs?
Being a mess.
Being muddy.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But they weren't. Nobody at Woodstock was yelling shit at her.
They were booing her in the prison? Is that what they were doing?
Yeah. Nobody liked her. So that's fucking funny.
At least it's not fucking raining. Calm down, Joni.
So February 5th, 1976, Rubin Carter is denied bail. So this is a request by Rubin and John Artis to be released on bail pending the outcome of their appeal for a new trial, and it was turned down by the New Jersey Supreme Court.
Okay.
So March 20th, 1976, Rubin Carter bail set at $20,000.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and Artis was granted $15,000 bail. The court official said both men would be freed Saturday.
Okay.
The decision to grant bail followed a 3-hour private meeting between lawyers for the two men, and neither defendant was present for these. Carter remained at the Clinton Reformatory, a minimum security facility 50 miles away, and Artis was at Leesburg State Prison, another minimum security place.
Pretty low bail for two triple murderers.
Yeah, you're real worried about them. So March 21st, 1976, they are freed from jail.
Yeah.
They walk out here, not free men, but they're not in jail anymore. They were
pending charges.
Yeah. They were done that. The Carter Artis National Defense Fund put up $20,000 for Carter and $15,000 for Artis. And Carter was taken to the courthouse from the reformatory while Artis was brought there from Leesburg Prison. They appeared before Superior Court Judge Bruno Liapizzi. They came before. Hey, Bruno, let us out of this fucking joint, would you? The defense attorney said they did not know when the new trial would begin. In a brief message from the bench, Liapizzi said, all counsel and the defendants are forbidden to release information about this case to the public or the media. Seriously, all you shut the fuck up. Keep it all under wraps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just lips fucking tight. We're going to go full omerta on this fucking shit. You know what I mean? Carter told reporters afterwards, after the hearing, that, he's looking forward to not be not
looking forward to my
in
day
jail.
in court. Yeah.
He said that he's forbidden to make any judicial comments on other information other than, what's in the public record.
Yeah.
No new shit here. The hearing room was crowded with reporters, including Muhammed Ali was there to
Nice.
He's just hanging out the whole time. 100 people crowded in this parking lot to see him come out here. They were pretty wild. Carter's 4 sisters were in the crowd and present at his hearing. His 2 brothers were absent. The sisters indicated there would be a family celebration.
Sure.
I would hope so. Jesus Christ.
Cookout and all that shit.
I would think so. So now, after 10 years in prison here, almost 10 years, here he is.
Damn.
He's hanging out with all these people, and, now he's like a celebrity.
Yeah.
More than just a boxing celebrity. Now he's got all like the cool kids like him. So they said, Rubin Carter said, that one man is Fred Hogan. If not for Fred Hogan, I'd be dead right now. Why Fred Hogan is that man, I don't know, but he's not a celebrity. They say he makes about $13,000 a year as a senior investigator in the New Jersey Public Defender's Office. He's they call him a, quote, chunky 31-year-old man who talks tough like the cop and boxer he once was growing up in Bayonne. He boxed in the Police Athletic League in '64, and through his interest in boxing, visited Rubin Carter when he was at a training camp in Summit. Sure. And this guy said, Hogan said, my father took me out there and met a couple of times. That's how I met him. My father knew Rubin's manager. Now, Fred Hogan's father was a guard at the Hudson County Jail in Jersey City, where Rubin's manager, Pat Amato, was the deputy warden. Remember that?
Right.
Wow. His relationship with Rubin was brief, they said, but they got close. The next year, Fred Hogan enlisted in the Army and was serving in the 24th Infantry Division in Europe when his parents mailed him the newspaper clippings of the Rubin's trial and convictions. And he said, I knew in my heart that there was no way that Rubin did that. So this guy got discharged from the Army in '68 and joined the Atlantic Highlands Police Force. Yeah. 2 years later, he's hired by the Public Defender's Office for the Monmouth County Bureau. In his work, he often went to Rahway State Prison to talk to people. That's when he renewed his Carter acquaintance, who had been in there. Now, he said he explored the case, this guy. In weekend visits, he studied the transcripts of the trial and persuaded Carter to obtain other important documents. Soon, he agreed with Carter that the prosecution's star witnesses, Albert Bello and Arthur Bradley, had lied in their testimony in return for leniency.
Right.
So they said that he said, by the time I started looking for them, Bello was in jail and Bradley had just gotten out. I ran into a cellmate of Bradley's and went to his last known address in Wayne and tracked him down from there. I got his written recantation in May of '74, but Bello didn't want to talk to me at first. Finally, in September '74, he gave me his recantation. So this guy's been doing all the footwork
King of Bayonne.
The free footwork here. Yeah. He delivered the recantations to the New York Times, and that's how it became a famous fucking thing. So he brought him to the press rather than anywhere else, which is smart.
Yeah.
So he said that he became involved here. The investigative reporter, he gave it to an investigative reporter for the Times, and he said that a guy named Richard Solomon, who was a screenwriter, had also been deeply involved in the Carter case before before it was cool. Right. He said Solomon had urged media exposure of Carter's unjust incarceration and also had been the instigator of the Rubin Carter Defense Committee, which is how the guy got out of jail on the fucking bail money. So it's a lot of people. This isn't just one person or, a lot of people.
A lot of people involved, yeah.
Had to do this. April 4th, 1976 here. We got some quotes here. This is Rubin the Hurricane Carter. You know what? Let's give a in their own words here. He just did 10 years for something he probably didn't have any shit to do with. So I think he deserves to get heard here. In their own words, quote, "If I am bitter, then I have a right to be bitter. What you are seeing is a person who has been raped of his freedom for 9.5 years for crimes he did not commit, would not, and could not commit." Raped of his freedom.
My God.
Yeah, not hyperbolic at all, right?
No.
I guess that's what other way to put it.
That's as hard a word as you can use, though, right?
I mean, and it fits if he didn't do it. Yeah, we got put in fucking New Jersey State Prison for 10 years. Right. What other word can you use?
I don't know.
They raped my life, like fucking terrible.
Is there a synonym that fits?
I mean, like we've said, there's lots of words. We can use lots of different words.
A rape cinnamon?
He did that.
Cinnamon?
No. So, a rape cinnamon. Rape cinnamon. That's a very bad man named Rape Cinnamon. No, I feel like that's very on purpose. That's
yeah. He is the hardest word possible. Yeah.
See that word, it should jar you because it's jarring. What happened to me, I feel like, is what he's doing.
I mean, it's essentially it's a crime. I mean, you could say I was kidnapped for 9 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what's happened.
What's stronger than raped of my freedom?
Yeah. What's stronger than kidnapped? Raped.
I think raped of my freedom is. Yeah, kidnapping, rape, murder is the. Yeah.
I wasn't 3, murdered 2, 1. Of my freedom, but definitely raped of it.
Definitely raped of it, though. Yeah, someone took something that I still have, but still they took it, and that's my freedom. Yeah,
they're like pirates. They plundered my freedom.
They plundered it,
raped it.
Plundered it like a butthole. Not good.
Plundered my butthole of freedom.
My freedom butthole. They plundered it. They came in and just tore it on up with shovels and everything.
Gaped it.
Gaped it out. So April 15th, 1976, Carter's defense team wins a delay in the retrial, I guess, to gather more evidence and all that kind of thing here. So they said there was, a heated discussion over this in court, but they said that they're definitely going to do it, and the prosecution says it's unfair.
Oh.
Yeah. He said it's unfair that they get a delay. It's like you've delayed his life for 10 years.
You've had 9 years to wrap this up. You should have all the evidence you need.
That's what I mean. Jeez, you should have had everything by now. Oh, we got even more evidence. Holy fuck. So April 19th, 1976, the gag rule on the trial is disputed. They're trying to get the gag rule off because the defense says it subjects him to citation for contempt of court and possible bail revocation for violating an order which is far from clear in its scope and thereby has a chilling effect on his First Amendment rights.
Sure.
He doesn't even know what he's allowed to say to not get thrown in jail. You could just basically, anything he says, you could just throw him in jail. Mm-hmm. The brief pointed out that there's no reference in the order to the prosecution. They said the only statement in the order which includes the prosecution is the following. Yeah, it's just you guys. Hopefully all participants will refrain from any extrajudicial statements intended to or which may affect the integrity of the trial.
Yeah.
That's it, though. That's just fucking what the defense has to shut the fuck up. Which is interesting.
Yeah,
so they do.
It's just gamesmanship, really. That's giving an advantage to one side. That's not okay.
Yeah. Well, it's also scaring the shit out of him, so he can't say anything because that's what they're afraid of is this public backlash on this, and that's the problem. Yeah, because people will lose elections over shit like that. So
don't ruin my life over this terrible decision that we've made.
No shit. So here is from New York Newsday, May 9th, 1976. He's out, and here's kind of like a night in the life of Rubin Carter when he's out waiting retrial. Rubin stood in the center of the ring last week in the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. A little man in a suit much too big for him. His shaved head gleamed in the overhead ring lights. Tears came from his eye that is blind and the one that isn't. He's blind in one eye? When the hell did that happen?
What?
He went blind in one eye. Jesus, they raped his sight too.
Yeah, they took they took the eye that recognizes a good fitting suit.
Yeah, it's a depth perception's way off. I thought the suit fit.
That is a big bummer. Every time they let somebody out of prison, they always put him in a suit that doesn't fit, and it makes you feel so much worse for this guy.
Now you look terrible. Yeah, it's a suit from like 12 years ago. Yeah. It's what it always is. Like 48 hours, that always tripped me out. Eddie Murphy gets out, and they put him in like a slick suit, and he's like, motherfucker, that suit would have butterfly collars. That shit was from 5 years ago. It's from 76. That thing would be way out of fashion by now.
Every time it's an exonerated man, even if it's a brand new suit, it never fits right. And you just go, oh, this poor guy.
Yeah. Because it's always just somebody went to Men's Warehouse and said, I think he's about this size, and then got him some awful fitting baggy
suit. Give me a 48 regular, and he wears like a 44 short.
Yeah. It's a 42 short. His fucking hands don't pop out of the sleeves. It looks awful.
Can't even see his thumb, this poor fuck.
Oh, man. That's great. They said he made a short, courteous wave, and the small crowd that had paid to see Muhammad Ali fight Jimmie Young stood up, cheered, and became a large crowd. Yeah. Carter ducked through the lower stands of the ring ropes, took a helping hand, and bit his upper lip and said, damn. He said it a few times. Then he said, it's what I was telling you. The people have gotten crazy. Wonderful crazy.
Yeah. Bit his
people
upper
are different.
Lip? Yeah, try to do that. Bite your upper lip.
It's different.
That ain't easy.
No, it's definitely a lower lip biter, but he must have actually bit his upper lip. Yeah. It's upper, they say. I mean,
does he have a fucking underbite? How would you bite your upper lip?
We have like an itch. Sometimes your nose, like a nose itch, to kind of pull it down like that. Do one of those.
Gary Goldman loves that. He's constantly licking his upper lip, like with his whole bottom lip. It's bizarre.
Interesting.
It's a very strange.
That might be a tick about being paranoid about your lips getting dry.
Maybe.
I
He's
can
always
see that being a thing.
Grabbing his top lip.
Interesting.
That's not a natural thing. No. You got to have that as a habit or a tick, because who bites or licks their top lip?
That's weird. Yeah, that's a strange one. So they said there had been a head-to-head conversation in Carter's hotel room earlier that day. He sat on a hard chair, and I used the corner of the bed. He said, quote, I'll talk to you because I've known you for a long time and you were never bad to me. But a magazine story put me in jail, got all the cops in the country thinking I was the enemy. I don't want any more written until I'm done with the thing, until I'm Rubin Carter, vindicated. Then you can write your ass off.
Okay.
So he said, so he talked about his trial, his 9 years, 6 months, and 6 days in prison, whether or not he will get a new trial, and how being sentenced to 3 life terms to run consecutively is longer than forever.
Yeah.
Those things, he said, will wait for Rubin Carter vindicated. But we talked about other things, too. The fights he had that I had covered, how his trainer had massaged my back into shape in Philadelphia once when a disc slipped. There were even laughs. He said his fight in 1964 with Joey Giardello for the middleweight championship. Giardello was the champ. We of the press gathered in the state office building for the weigh-in when the chairman of the Pennsylvania Athletic Commission announced that both men had weighed in the secrecy of his office and that each weighed 160 pounds. Yes. Which I weighed them. They're fine.
Don't worry.
The fight's going to go on. Rubin said, old Joey had to weigh like 172 pounds, but they didn't want to call off the fight, and I wanted the title and needed the money. I'd have fought Joey if he weighed 200 pounds.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he said, I didn't give a fuck. He didn't win the championship, but he did get his money, they say. He said, we talked about the night he knocked out Florentino Fernandez in 1 round at the Old Garden. Florentino fell over the way a tree falls. In his dressing room, Rubin was being congratulated on the ferocity of his left hook, and Carter threw off the hands of those who wanted to pat his back. Damn it, he said. Don't tell me how good it was. It was sickening. That man might have been hurt real bad. That man could have been me.
Oh.
So he's a nice guy. Yeah, don't act excited because some dude's in the hospital.
I don't
now.
feel good that I drilled him
Wow.
like that.
That is a different type of thing for boxers. Usually
That's
they
a
get
guy
rid of
that doesn't
shit.
murder people, James.
Usually they're not big murderers, those guys who are worried about that. The guy goes on to say, sure, I remembered that when Carter and John Artis were convicted of shooting 3 people to death in a Jersey saloon, but I remembered an afternoon at Eschen's, a training camp in Summit, New Jersey. Carter brought me into his quarters in the back of the camp, and it was his arsenal. Rifles, shotguns, small arms were all over the room. He picked up a Luger and threw it at me. Ain't that a honey, he said. I said he was crazy. He was a convicted felon, and he'd land right back in the can if anyone ever saw those weapons. Aw, hell, Carter said. Everybody knows I love target practice, but I ain't making a show of them. You're not going to write it. And I didn't, he said, this guy. In a Maryland hotel room, he also talked about the campaign he put on in prison, how he read to educate himself, and how he telephoned looking for help. And how, after years of telephoning, the help came. White actresses, black champions, writers, grocers, and truck drivers came. He said, I got help from people from all over the world. People went crazy to help me. All wonderful, good people, and they came to help me. He said the help came because he had never allowed himself to think it wouldn't. He said, in prison, all I did was work and hope. I wouldn't admit to anyone that I was a criminal. I wasn't. I wasn't buddies with the law either. I was like a guy on the fence at high noon. My shadow fell on both sides, but I didn't. Jesus. Interesting. He said, prison life has withered the muscles that threw those vicious hooks. To call him Hurricane anymore would be making fun. He weighs 147 pounds, and he fits into 10-year-old clothes made for 100. He fits them into 10-year-old clothes made for a 160-pound athlete.
Yeah, he needs
That's
to anchor
why.
himself in a hurricane now.
Yep, he's got to hold on tight. He said, and the right eye stares vacantly. A prison operation for a detached retina didn't turn out right, and they blinded him in a fucking eye. I'd sue for that shit, too. You guys suck. But it's a new life, he said. I realize that all of us are programmed for dying. I'm going to try to do what I can do to make each of us programmed to live, to be alive and love it. I owe that to a lot of people.
Wow.
That's what he said. He loses his gag order appeal, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's not allowed to talk. Can't talk about shit. June 7th, 1976, Philadelphia Daily News. The headline is A Phone Call and a Week of Shock. Okay. A torturous sequence of events began after my appearance on the May 30th edition of Meet the Press. This is from Chuck Stone, who wrote this. Chuck Stone.
That's a
Wow.
Isn't he on TV?
No, that's a man
No?
with a flat top is what that
okay.
is. I'm Chuck Stone. An old friend called me the next day to congratulate me. Chuck, this is Carolyn Kelly. It did my heart good to see you on the program. We all watched it here in the hospital. What hospital? Was she sick again? I hadn't talked with her since Rubin Hurricane Carter had been granted bail in March for a few weeks. Carter, accompanied by Carolyn in her capacity as national coordinator for his defense committees, went from Miami to a Connecticut hideaway trying to readjust to the precious elixir of freedom. Where are you calling from, girl? I jokingly asked. Florida, Connecticut, or Newark? You trying to get some relaxation and make like you're sick? Chuck, I'm in the Crippled Children's Hospital in Newark. I'm in traction.
Yeah.
Crippled Children's. Rubin beat me and tried to kill me.
What?
Is what she said. Shock is its own crippler, an emotion that stops time and reason. I tried to grab at just one of the thoughts rushing by. Rubin, what, where, when, why, what happened? Quietly and with painstaking detail, Carolyn recited an astonishing story. She described the furniture in Carter's hotel room where the attack allegedly occurred and recalled the agony as she lay on the floor and as she charges, Carter sat on top of her, choking her.
Oh, my God.
A piece of my world collapsed, too. You read my 2 columns on Rubin Carter this last March. I saw this beautiful, strong black man, a symbol of resistance to the massive injustices suffered by black people. Like Angela Davis, Joan Little, and the Wilmington 10 and Reverend Ben Chavez, Carter has been victimized by a criminally unjust and racist system. What I recalled most about him after our interview was his indomitable capacity for restraint. He kept his anger in check and talked forcefully, yet with glacial control. He was a cool dude, and he talked of enlarged philosophic truths and promised to work forever for the complete liberation of black people. Carol and I had known since my work with Adam Clayton Powell. In fact, After Powell was lynched by Congress, Philip Randolph appointed her as head of the New Jersey committee to support Powell. Periodically, we talked over the phone, but as happens to all of us, our new imperatives intrude on our lives. We move on to newer challenges. Carolyn and I spoke briefly during a mass rally and march in Trenton last October. Would I write about Carter, get involved? I jumped in with all 4 feet. All righty. This past February, she appeared on my TV program, On Target, and did such a superb job that several people wrote in asking her to help them with their loved ones in prison. A few days later, she helped arrange my interview with Carter in the Clinton prison. When I left him, I felt as if I had discovered another black hero who would walk in the footsteps of Malcolm X. Like Malcolm, Carter had been garroted by the system's inhumanity. Like Malcolm, he was struggling to be born again. Since Carolyn's emotion-draining phone call, I've talked 3 times with Rubin Carter. Our conversations at his request have been off the record. He is in strong denial of Carolyn's charges. Yet I know Carolyn well, and few things have troubled me more than to see this tragic twist of events fracture a beautiful mosaic of black togetherness that she and Rubin Carter had been building. How, unfortunately, a few questions about the hurricane are in my mind that weren't there before I talked to Carolyn Kelly. Okay, that's not good. And then it comes out that it was the next day, Carter faces new accusation. And that's from her. Now it comes out publicly. Carter said her story was false.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Which is interesting. I don't know who did this to her then. Did she fall out a window? I mean, what the fuck happened?
I don't foresee him confirming it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah,
I did. That bitch gets mouthy. You know what I'm saying?
Let me explain. There's no. Give me a sec.
Hold on one sec. Carolyn Kelly, who's 41, was a bail bondswoman who led the Carter Defense Fund movement in New Jersey, said that the alleged attack occurred on April 29th. Mm-hmm. She was admitted to the hospital on May 16th. That's a long time. That's 18 days. In a statement released through his attorneys, Carter said Mrs. Kelly had been demanding money from him and had threatened to go to the press with the false story she told today. But who hurt her then? Someone had to hurt her.
Yeah.
Did she fucking have somebody beat her up and sue? I don't know but April 29th to May 16th is a long time to.
Sure is.
If you need serious medical attention, that's a long time to go without it. But June 9th, she's coming out here. Carter's accuser defends her story in the newspaper here. Carolyn Kelly, she's defending. She dismissed as laughable Carter's countercharge that she demanded $250,000 from him. In a television interview Monday night, Carter said that Ms. Kelly had demanded the money after complaining to him that she had suffered heavy losses by neglecting her bail bonds business while working to obtain his release from prison. So, okay. In a telephone interview yesterday from her room in Newark's United Hospital, Ms. Kelly said that she had spent at least $50,000 of her own money on Carter's behalf during the 15 months she headed the defense committee, and that she never asked Carter or the defense committee for repayment. She estimated that she had lost an additional $300,000 to $400,000 in bail bonds businesses.
Wow.
In bail, just in the time. She said, the people in New York Defense Committee handled all the money. In New Jersey, I bought everything. I put over 13,000 miles on my car, shoes on his feet, the coat on his back. I paid $7,000 worth of phone bills from the day Rubin Carter called and asked me to work for him. Wow, that's a lot of money. She said that I guess when he did come, gave Carter $500 to pay expenses for herself, Carter, and 3 security men to attend the Muhammed Ali Jimmie Young fight. So she paid their expenses to go there. On that trip, she charges when she was beaten and threatened by Carter after she went to his hotel room on April 29th to ask him for $66 to pay for her hotel room.
Okay.
$200,000 and $66 are a big difference of an ask. She also denied published reports that she is in love with Carter.
Oh.
Yes. She said, I never even saw Rubin Carter as a man, just a cause, I guess. Mm-hmm. She said that she would no longer work for Carter's cause, but she has not yet formally resigned from the committee. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for the prosecutor's office said that a motion relating to the Carter case has been filed with the county judge And that's all they would say. So this is presumably containing recommendations to revoke or revise the terms of his release on bail. So trying to get him back in here. She said, the woman, Kelly, said that it was not her intention in making public statements about the beating to have the bail revoked. She said, I don't think jail is the place for Rubin Carter.
What?
Well, if he just beat you unmercifully, why would you say that?
Where would you want him?
What's the place you can send him?
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
Lord of the Flies Island? Like, where do you fucking send this guy? She said, I don't think jail's the place for him, but I couldn't think about him anymore. I had to think about the people in the streets being able to separate the man from the cause. I want to prevail on people. If you do good things, do them for the cause, not the person. You're talking to the only person in the world who knows the real Rubin Carter, and even I was misled about his mentality. So this next up, a few days later, the Indianapolis Star says beating charges reveal dissension, disarray in Hurricane Carter's corner. Holy shit, man.
So people believe it and some people don't.
Some people don't. Now they're fighting over that. So Kelly here, they call her a 41-year-old divorcee who is constantly on her side. Carter saying she concocted the story. So it's pretty fucking interesting here. Now, George Lois, the executive, the advertising guy who started this whole thing to get him out, said that he resigned in March because Miss Kelly became a divisive force and for a period of time manipulated Rubin Carter.
Oh.
He said that Lois said, I'm a white guy, but Kelly is black, and apparently tried to convince Carter that she could help him become the, quote, next great black leader. She said this guy said her problem is that she fell in love with Rubin. She probably turned on him when he told her that he wasn't going to leave his wife and kid for her. That's the guy that worked with her.
Probably a sexual relationship that he had no intention of taking further, and she wanted further.
Something. That's kind of what he's insinuating here. This is wild. She said she's discontinued her bail bonds business, and I guess supporters of Carter cite numerous inconsistencies in her version of the incident. They point out that although she said she had been seriously injured, she returned alone to Newark and waited 17 days before entering a hospital. Carter asserts that she made her demands for a $250,000 payment under threats that she would smear him at 2 meetings before she entered the hospital. She seemed to be perfectly healthy both times, Rubin said. Interesting. The former boxer said he had agreed to pay Mrs. Kelly for her work on the new committee through a salaried position or through a percentage of future earnings. He's trying to sell his movie rights to make an autobiography and had hoped to make lecture tours. He said, insisting that revenge was not her motive. Mrs. Kelly said she had made her charges because she believed that Carter possibly required psychiatric help.
Oh.
I'm just trying to help him. That's all it is.
Yeah, I need a doctor to look after him.
She said it's ridiculous for Rubin to say I was trying to shake him down. There's no money to be gotten. He didn't have that money, that much to say that people would have paid him for. You can't get blood out of a turnip.
Okay.
Wow. Blood out of a turnip is a good title for the show.
Yeah,
I like that.
He's likely got, if winning, if he's going to be victorious in all this, he's certainly got a story that's worth a shitload of money.
Oh, he's definitely going to have Denzel Washington play him someday.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So one of those who said he was eliminated by Mrs. Kelly and Lois is Richard Solomon, the freelance writer we talked about. He said Lois saw Carter as the ultimate advertising campaign. He and Carolyn Kelly became more interested in counting press clippings and turning Rubin into a national figure than in the judicial issues of the case.
Right.
Solomon said he and other committee personnel who had opposed the high-pressured media campaign were characterized as negativistic by Lois and Kelly. He said they got more wrapped up in the process of selling Rubin than in what had started out to do, which was give him his day in court.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. So July 20th, 76, again he's appealing this gag order. They're not, shut the fuck up. They're not going to let you stop. They're not going to let you say things.
Why do you want to talk about it?
I don't get it. He is told, though, now, July 22nd, to stay in the state and report weekly.
Uh-oh.
The order was issued after 9 days of closed hearings on a request by the prosecutor to revoke his bail. So they're trying to revoke his bail, and he's saying no.
Yeah, because he's got the opportunity to be out there in front of people, and if people want to look up and find out about his story, even if he's not talking about it, somebody, if he doesn't say it, somebody else can.
They're gonna, they're gonna ask him about it. And he can say no comment, but they can talk all they want.
You can't tell Muhammad Ali to shut the fuck up. He'll stand up in the center of a ring and tell all. Rubin can just stand there, and Muhammad Ali can say it, and they'll believe it. They'll
Everyone will listen. People will fucking listen.
Absolutely.
So finally, here his gag order is lifted in July of 1976, so he can finally talk now. But they then 4 days later, July 30th, the headline is "Court puts leash on Rubin Carter." Wow. They overruled the appeals court and placed a tighter rein on the out-of-state travels of Rubin Carter. Interesting. Carter's out on bail, obviously. They said in a story first reported in the Daily News by Carolyn Kelly, who participated in the movement, her charges led to the limitations put on his movements. So someone believes her.
Yeah.
So he could travel to New York as long as it involved his defense. Otherwise, he has to stay in New Jersey.
Right.
So there's that. Now, August 7th, 1976, he's getting shit on again in court here.
Yeah.
He loses an appeal for free travel during preparation for his retrial. He wants to be able to go wherever he wants. He lost a bid to have the state pay the estimated $30,000 cost of a defense investigation into the case.
Oh.
So he's trying to get the state to pay the bills there, which if he had public defenders, they do pay the bills, but they have to approve it first here. So August 11th, 1976, more motions are readied now. This is a lot of court stuff going on here. So they're trying to get the charges dismissed here. They're saying that the murder indictments be dismissed or that their coming trial be shifted from Passaic County away to somewhere else where people haven't heard they've all heard the fucking hurricane song is the problem.
Yeah, you got Muhammad Ali screaming about it too.
That's
people
going
are
to
listening.
happen. Yeah. So the dismissal motion will be made on the grounds that the grand jury that indicted Carter and Artis did not have a proper number of minority group members. So that's an appeals case there. So they said that the change of venue request will involve a sample of Passaic County residents polled by the National Jury Project, and it purportedly showed that Passaic County residents are biased against Carter and Artis. So the defense says they're going to try to get a movement here away from this place, and maybe that'll help. August 13th, 1976, $70,000 aid to grant Carter's retrial, or grant to aid, not aid to grant. Grant to aid the retrial here. The grant will hire 3 lawyers and 4 investigators.
Shit.
Before the retrial, which is a big deal. That's honestly what you have to have. If you have one lawyer in a mountain of paperwork, they can't find the little things. They're too busy looking for the big things. Everybody has to have different assignments. If you've ever seen The Staircase, watch The Staircase. It's a great thing of like how an actual defense comes together. And these people are sitting there all fucking day, every day, with a whole team and a whiteboard. And what did you find? And what did you find? Did you talk to our investigators? It's a huge fucking thing. It's not just one guy going, this is the key to the case. I'll win it.
And that's one murder.
Huge.
This is
that's
3.
one. Yeah, this is fucking 3 murders. Exactly. Really good way to put that. So August 24th, 1976, they say he's out from one charge. A Maryland prosecutor won't act on the criminal complaint filed against him by the woman in the hospital.
Okay.
So they're not going to charge him with that.
Really?
Yeah. She said that he punched, kicked, and choked her into unconsciousness. And they said, nah, it's good. So September 7th, that's when they're arguing the change of venue a little bit more. They obviously want out of where people are biased against them,
Certainly
which makes a lot of
retrying
fucking sense. They're going to retry him. Absolutely. Yeah. They're not going to just go, well, we tried. So his trial is then shifted to Hudson County in late 76, in September of 76. And to Hudson County, a judge ruled they could not get a fair trial in Passaic County because of prejudicial newspaper coverage. So they said local newspapers in Hudson County had covered the Carter Artis case in a balanced, reasonable, factual, and unimpassioned manner. That's what the one person said. But the judge pointed out that Hudson was a 10% black population in about the same Passaic and would help ensure jury selection fairness. So the defense was hoping that the judge would shift the trial to Essex County, but they said that a Newark newspaper versus coverage favored Carter and artists. So they said that was unfair because it was too favorable to the defendants. Right. One had all this negative shit about him, and then Newark had all positive shit about him. So he can't be in either place, which is interesting. They go on to say here, this is strictly a black and white situation, and if anyone thinks that for a moment that Rubin Carter and John Artis can receive a fair trial in Passaic County, their thoughts fly in the face of reality.
Yes.
Flying in the face of it. God damn it.
It's embarrassing.
Embarrassing us all. October 12th, 1976. Here he goes. The retrial is going to start, but they say in this headline, the money stars are gone. Carter trial starts today. Now there's no Bob Dylan. Muhammad Ali's not there.
It's all gone.
Stevie Wonder's not hanging out with him.
Yeah.
They've lost. He's lost his luster.
It's a new news cycle. It doesn't matter now. Yeah.
I love the opening line of this article is Rubin Carter isn't a beautiful person anymore.
Whoa.
And beautiful person capitalized, capital B and P to show like one of the beautiful people.
Right. One of the in crowd.
Yep. They said a year ago the ex-fighter was the rage of Madison Avenue as media superstars and their promoters organized rock concerts and rallies on his behalf. Muhammad Ali, Joan Baez, Stevie Wonder, Isaac Hayes. Bob Dylan wrote the song The Hurricane with its imagery of a proud black man victimized by the Patterson police. Today, the celebrities have gone. Most of the promoters have dropped from the Carter camp. His entourage has been split by dissension and name-calling.
Oh, boy.
Oof, man, that's rough. They said...
These people don't realize how long activism takes. Like, if you want change,
a long time.
You better hang the fuck on, man. It takes a long time.
And Carter's lawyers are working for free right now. His Freedom for All Forever committee has run out of money and owes an estimated $100,000.
Oh, shit.
So that is he's fucked here. They said his image was tarnished when the woman when Kelly said that he beat the shit out of her, and that's part of the whole thing here. So, that'll do it. But we don't even know if that's true.
That's a good point. We don't know if it is or isn't.
We have no fucking idea here. But I guess on June 7th, she charged from the hospital bed that he'd beaten her. That was later on. She was in the hospital for like months. What is going on?
And she waited 17 days to go to the hospital? She was in that bad a shape?
And then she's in the cripple ward for a month. Like, that seems very interesting. And it goes back and forth, those two. Kelly filed a $1 million damage suit against Carter in the state of Maryland.
Okay.
So that's how that goes. She's trying to get cash there. She said what Carter did was send Richard Solomon out to get all the famous people for the concerts. As soon as Richard Solomon finished that, Carter did what he always does when he used people. He kicked them out. Yep, she said they said that Mrs. Kelly wasted Carter's money by lavish use of limousines to take celebrities to appearances on his behalf, asserts John Webster, the current treasurer of the Freedom for All Forever. He said she ran up $2,200 limousine bill during the weekend of his March release, ordered limousines to chauffeur Muhammad Ali and others, and he said she was only acting out of Carter's request. Right. He said, be classy. If Muhammad Ali's coming, send a fucking limousine.
Yeah, don't go pick him up in your fucking Saturn.
But Richard Solomon said she came in like a whirlwind and she seemed to go out like a whirlwind. I would say. The minute Mrs. Kelly came in, the whole atmosphere became charged with a kind of racial quality, is what Solomon said. Yeah. He said, it was different than before. He said, it's true that we had to make Rubin Carter a hype to make him viable to get his day in court, but what happened after that was sickening. Unfortunately, it takes a Bob Dylan to wake up the conscience of a lot of people. Yeah, he said, wow. They said when she made those complaints, though, his martyrdom was stripped from him, is what the Lois guy said. They said that made it so nobody wanted to be around him anymore because they didn't know. Carter said his money problems result from his not being able to travel and speak freely because of the gag order. Yeah. He said, this court has effectively denied me the right to earn a living. Freedom ain't free, man. You need money. I believe that was, kind of paraphrased later on for
Toby Keith.
He's like, what'd that guy say that time in the 70s? The boxer Bob Dylan wrote the song about. What the fuck did he say?
Yeah.
He said freedom ain't free. The hefty fucking fee, I think, is what he said.
Something about beer and horses and whiskey
Horses.
for men or some shit.
Some horse shit. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. So Carter said that there's probably opportunities to speak in New Jersey, but I don't want to speak in New Jersey. New Jersey's been very dangerous for me.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. He said, I'm still in prison. The courts are my prison. But you're not in prison, so don't say that.
All right.
So attorneys for both the prosecution and defense joined in a motion to dismiss 500 prospective jurors in the new murder trial because the panel may have been chosen unconstitutionally. So they got to start over again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Carolyn Kelly, the one again who was in the hospital, has been hospitalized again. This is October 1976.
What happened?
For further treatment of injuries she claimed were caused when Carter beat her up in April.
Wow.
She said she entered the hospital paralyzed from the waist down on Thursday.
How bad did he beat her?
I don't know. She said sharp, severe pains in her lower back recurred last Thursday when she fell back in a chair in her office. She said this is the second time she has re-entered a hospital since Carter allegedly beat her unconscious. She, Carter, and others were there to watch the fight. So Kelly has filed a $1 million lawsuit against Carter, saying that he, quote, maliciously and with prison-like rapidity struck her and knocked her to the floor. She had to put that in there, prison-like. Struck her and knocked her back into the floor, then kicking her in the head, back, arms, and legs. That's her claim. And, she said, I was heavily sedated and not aware of what I was signing at the time, saying that she was under the impression she had filed a complaint when she gave police a statement. So now she's saying, I don't even know what I was doing. I was heavily sedated.
I don't know what I wrote. Yeah.
This is very weird. Last week, she charged investigators from the Passaic County's prosecutor's office with trying to pressure her into signing a statement against Carter at her office. But you've been saying statements in the newspaper. What the fuck?
Right. What's the difference?
I don't understand that shit. I don't get it. It's just fucking weird to do that. They said, I absolutely deny the idea of pressure or misconduct. The interview was done and should have been done and the same as any other. That's what the prosecutor said. So anyway, October 20th, 1976, new judge for Rubin here.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get the old judge here, which is helpful, actually.
Yeah.
Not bad.
The judge didn't like him anyway.
Yeah, no, he hated him. October 30th, 1976, Bob Dylan sued for the Hurricane song.
Uh-oh.
Yep, Patricia Ann Valentine, old Patty Valentine, filed the suits to halt any further public performances of the song.
Oh.
How the fuck you stop someone from singing it? That's pretty wild. The suit also seeks a fair and equitable share of all money earned on the song by Dylan. What would that be? 12 cents? You got mentioned once. You got name checked in it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's 2024. I barely remember it.
Did Tupac give Biggie a cut of Hit 'Em Up? I don't think he did. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
You could write a diss track about somebody, and I don't think Kendrick Lamar's giving Drake a cut of his fucking money here.
Did the Knicks get a little piece from Biggie when he told the story?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did fucking Anthony Mason or Allen Houston or whatever have to talk about that shit? That's fucking interesting. So they're saying that she wants all the money, that equitable share of all money earned on the song by Dylan, his co-writer, a Columbia Records and Warner Brothers publication, and also seeks $30,000 in damages for invasion of privacy.
Oh.
She said the song presents her in an unfavorable light in such a way to make her appear predisposed to testify against him. She is scheduled to testify at the retrial here for the prosecution against him, which is exactly the song makes it sound like I'm testifying against them. Hold on a minute, I got to go testify against them. I'll be right back.
I got to get sworn in.
Give me $1 million. Okay. Wow. So here we go. November 19th, 1976. Key witness is missing.
Oh, which one?
Kent Kellogg. Possibly a key witness for the prosecution in the retrial of Rubin Carter and John Ardis here, has disappeared, the newspaper says.
Uh-oh.
By late morning, however, the prosecutor's office reported that they had quote, a line on where the whereabouts of Kellogg and expected to find him before the end of the trial.
Yeah.
If he's found, he's expected to be used to corroborate testimony by Bello that he believed it was Carter who came out of the Lafayette Grill with a shotgun seconds after 3 people were murdered.
Okay. Okay.
So in the 1974 hearing, when Bello recanted his identification of Carter, Kellogg testified that Bello had told him Rubin Carter shot up the whole bar on June 17th, the day of the murders. Kellogg, so that's hearsay. Anyway, it's
useless.
But they're going to put it in court. He said that he said it. Kellogg also made the statement that on October 20th, 66, to a grand jury. The attorney for Carter said, we would tear him apart if he's brought up here. Kellogg, accompanied by Bello and Arthur Bradley on the night of the murder. Oh, he was the guy helping to break into the fucking sheet metal shop. Attorneys who have watched Bello testify in the last 3 days said they thought he appeared to be a, quote, buffoon.
Nice.
A member of the prosecutor's department said, buffoon, no doubt about it. It's all up after this. I don't know what that even means, but okay. If the prosecution believes Bello is the low point of its case, the defense believes he's crucial to the prosecution's case because he was the guy who put him in jail to begin with. So that makes sense here. The prosecution believes Bello's testimony now, despite the lies admitted to under cross-examination, will dovetail with important testimony given by other witnesses. We'll fit it in.
Yeah, we'll get it in there.
Now, Bello at one point said he was not worried that the police might be in the area of the Lafayette Grill because his friend was trying to break into the nearby factory. Some of the jurors just smiled at that. Like, you weren't worried the cops were around even though you were breaking and entering? When Bello said, I'm not a Houdini, I can't remember everything, the audience laughed at him because who the fuck was Houdini known for his memory? Is that what he's known for, you dummy?
He also didn't break into things. He broke out.
Yeah, he broke out of things. Well, he said, I can't remember everything. Like, yeah, it made it sound even dumber. Whether they believed him or not, I can't answer that, one attorney said. Other attorneys said it would be futile to speculate how the jury is reacting to Bello. He said, I think they're paying close attention, one jury said.
I hope so.
Jesus Christ, that's fucking funny. The prosecutor here said, I'm worried about the young people, a prosecutor said, because they tend to be skeptical of the police. Yeah, that happens. So that's what they said, and they're trying to do this. Carter then says, quote, he does a television interview where he says, quote, I'm a lawyer.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting. That's odd. He sits attentively at the defense table, flanked by his attorneys, but he's not a lawyer. But he said, quote, I'm a lawyer. He said, I was only a boxer while pursuing my destiny. Now, he said, he's pursuing his freedom, fighting for his life, and he doesn't want his attorneys alone to bear that weight. He said, I studied law in prison for 10 years. I understand the language of the court. I prefer to be identified as me. I want to be involved in this battle together. Talking about his attorneys.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That is fucking wild. So he's still sitting in the courtroom here. Here's a quote from an article. He sat in the courtroom yesterday with his bullet head and nicked eyebrows and blue-tinted glasses and goatee brushing against the top of his black turtleneck shirt. Don't call anyone a bullet head when they're on trial for shooting someone, please.
Don't use the word bullet at all.
Don't use the word fucking bullet. That is just very fucking stupid. Their talk about he sat at a curved table of blonde wood with his feet on a light red carpet. In the front of the room was a gray-haired judge with a muffin face. What does that even mean?
Old potato face.
What's a muffin face? I've never heard that before.
I think it's just like a fat face.
I guess. Like muffin tops coming out of your... Yeah. And on the witness stand was a woman named Catherine McGuire. She had a purple fedora tilted over her left eye and a voice that did not change as she maintained that she had once lied during a trial to provide Rubin Carter with an alibi, but now she dealt with the truth. He had not been with her on the night the people were killed. Oh. So now he's got people recanting. Yeah. So Carter's attorney, Myron Beldock, poked at her through the morning, but the woman did not seem to become confused. The jury members consumed her words. They did not yawn or cough or rearrange themselves in the seats. The case grows tough, is what they said. I would say so. So now I guess it came out of – oh, yeah, okay, never mind here. Okay, the first trial in 1967, she said she had She said her and her mother had been in a saloon with Carter, then went home with him at the time the murders took place.
Okay.
But now it's 1976, and people have lived lives that have changed. She says she does not date Rubin Carter anymore. That was his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Catherine McGuire says she's engaged to a policeman, and what she has to say is different. Well, yeah. They said, when you testified in 1967, would you say that you were with Rubin Carter? Or you say, what time did you say you were with Rubin Carter? She said 2:15. And what did you say happened? He brought us home. My mother got out, and I sat in the car for a few moments. Then I got out, and he drove away, and I was on the porch a while, and I saw him pass again 15 minutes later. Was that true? She said no. They said, did you know it was untrue when you testified? She said yes. They said, was there a night when he did drive you home? She said yes. They said, could that have been on June 17th? She said no. They asked why. She said, I would have remembered that the night the people were killed, and I would have said to myself I was with him that night. So at lunch, Carter drove with two relatives to a cousin's house on the outskirts of the city. He sat with a mug of coffee and looked out the dining room window on a gloomy day. And they said, what did you think of her as a witness? And he said, I've lost my perspective. So many lies. She was tougher than you'd like her to be, somebody said. Of course she's tougher. She has to go home to that police officer, is what he says. He's whooping her ass. You know what they're like. They're worse than boxers.
She's got to go home to a cop after he knows that she sucked my dick.
The prosecutor's trying to prove a consciousness of guilt, is what Rubin says. Mm-hmm. He said they say he spoke in prison library language while he finished his coffee and had a cigarette. Time, gentlemen, a cousin named Bubba said. Carter slipped into a leather couch coat. A black leather coat, couch coat. Where the fuck did that come from? And he and his cousins drove back to the courthouse. As Rubin stepped out of the elevator onto the 6th floor, a woman from the sheriff's office said, he's on the bench already. Carter walked to the doorway, hands rising automatically for frisking, and then he went into his ring, the courtroom.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Here we go. They said it was so hushed that the creaking of a spectator's leather jacket was disturbing.
Yeah. He's got to battle his 12 champions over there in the jury box.
Got to do it. Here we go. We'll wrap up with December 4th, 1976. They're in court, and they're saying Carter and Artis' statements conflicted, is what the jury are told, the ones from more than 10 years ago. Passaic County Detectives Chief Vincent DeSimone read into record statements he said he took from the defendants about 8 hours after the shooting deaths. In the statements, Carter and Artis gave conflicting accounts of their whereabouts, and they also conflict with testimony read into the record on Thursday. They said on Thursday, the state read the 1967 trial testimony of John Bucks Royster, who's now dead. At the first trial, Royster testified he was in Carter's car with Artis and Carter when it was stopped by the police on the night of the crime.
Right.
In the statements DeSimone read on Friday, neither Carter nor Artis mentioned being with Royster during their travels to and from taverns that night.
Uh-oh.
In his statement to DeSimone, said to have been taken at 10:47 a.m., June 17, 1966, Carter didn't mention giving Miss Kathy McGuire and her mother a ride home from the Night Spot Tavern between 2:15 and 2:30 a.m. In 1967, Carter used that story as a key item in his alibi defense. Miss McGuire last week recanted her testimony, saying that she had taken him home. Carter's alleged statement to DeSimone also differed from Artis's in that Artis said he and Carter went to the Club La Petite at 10 p.m. and they left together for the Night Spot at about 11:30. He told DeSimone they stayed at the Night Spot until it closed at about 3. Carter told DeSimone he left his house at 10, went to the Night Spot alone, stayed there for 20 to 30 minutes, and then went to Club La Petite alone. He also made no mention of picking Artis up in his car.
Mm-hmm.
Carter also told DeSimone that it was testified that he and Artis went to Richie's hideaway. He allegedly said that he went in alone and stayed until midnight, then left with Artis 30 to 45 minutes later. In his June 17, 1966 statement to DeSimone, Carter didn't mention where or when he picked up Artis. Artis allegedly told DeSimone that Carter picked him up in his car about 10 p.m. on Governor Street, and they both went to Club La Petite. This is very confusing, and it's all fighting each other. Although neither mentioned picking up Royster and taking him home in Carter's car, Patterson said that, or Patterson Sergeant Theodore Capter said that there were people in Carter's car when it was stopped at 2:40. So there was a third person in the car when it was stopped. That's in the police report. Artis also told DeSimone that Carter never left the night spot while he was with him, and that there was never anyone else but he and Carter in Carter's car that night. So there's very different
too many conflicting stories.
A lot of conflicting stories. Now, the state's trying to prove that Carter fabricated his alibi and therefore establish a consciousness of guilt. It also seeks to prove a motive for the killings linked to the slaying 6 hours earlier of a black bartender by a white man. Okay. So the prosecutor called that motive. He's saying that they were mad that a white guy shot a black guy, so they were going to shoot up this whole bar. Right. That's the motive here.
Shot 5 white people because a black guy got shot.
Yes, that's what he's saying. So Patterson Detective Edward Callahan was the second Patterson policeman who testified that an angry crowd of blacks gathered outside the Waltz Inn after the bar. Roy Holloway was killed by Frank Conforti. That was that night. Police had to form a cordon to escort Conforti, who was arrested at the scene, through the crowd to the police car. Give us him. We'll take care of him, Callahan said. The crowd of 25 to 30 spectators were shouting. That shotgun slaying occurred at 8:15 p.m. 3 whites were killed at the Lafayette bar at about 2:30, 6 hours later. The state claims the link between the 2 shotgun slayings is Carter's friend Edward Rawls, who is Holloway's stepson. So because he knows the dead bartender's stepson, he's going to go slaughter a whole bar.
Right.
The state intends to prove that Carter and Artis spoke with Rawls on June 16th, learned of his stepfather's death. It's not even his real father.
Right. And
what the fuck are you talking about?
And the murders in the tavern are so personal.
They're way different.
At least the one is incredibly. Why would you destroy a woman's pubic area over a black guy getting shot somewhere else? That's not what happened.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not a detective and you're not a detective, but I'm an Occam's razor guy, and if I walk in and I see one guy shot in the back, the other guy shot wherever, and then I see this broad really shot up good, including in her crotch, I go, okay, well, here's our target.
Yeah.
This is obviously either made to look like a robbery so it wouldn't look like whoever wanted to kill her wanted to kill her, or they're just taking out anybody else in the room for no witnesses.
Right.
But either one, this seems like it's against her, not it doesn't seem like robbery is the main motive, because no money was taken, except by a guy who wasn't involved in the killings.
It seems like, from outsider looking in, and lots of crime stories I've heard,
it
seems like somebody was angry that she rebuffed their advances. That's where I would start. Shit.
Left the bar, came back with a shotgun, said, fuck this bitch. I could see that being very...
That's what it feels like.
Her boyfriend pissed off that she went out to the bar that night because he told her not to go, or her husband, or whatever the fuck it is. That's what I'm looking at first.
She's shotgunned in the shoulder and shot twice in the pussy. It's...
Yeah.
It's,
come on.
Come on, man.
When all the small town murders, there's never any violence toward the pussy that's not very personal.
Right.
We've done hundreds of those. Never. That's a personal.
I've never heard of a woman shot in the junk because they're eliminating all the witnesses.
That's not usually the way that's done.
They usually aim higher, lots higher.
Well, a little bit higher.
Yeah.
The head, the chest, things of vital organs. So both Carter and Artis in 1966 told DeSimone that they were aware of Rawls' stepfather's death that night. Artis, however, said that he and Carter didn't come up at all. It's not like we drove around talking about it, getting pissed on it. They said, we knew about it. And we were like, oh, he got killed. It's fucking terrible. New Jersey. Yeah. People get killed sometimes. Yeah. So they said Callahan also testified that Rawls and 2 other persons went to Patterson Police Headquarters between 9:55 and midnight on June 16th and demanded to see the man who killed Holloway. 2 other persons, but it's not Artis and fucking Carter, so who cares? Right. Callahan said he told the men police were booking the suspect, and Rawls told them, if you don't do anything about this, we sure as hell will. Okay. He said he didn't know Rawls at the time, but learned his identity from Holloway's widow. So the Patterson detective also testified that the purse and wallets of the Lafayette victims were not stolen or disarrayed, suggesting that the robbery was not the motive for the killings.
Yeah.
It's not. That's what I mean. So, but they're using that. The prosecution's trying to say it wasn't robbery.
Right.
It was just
It was rape.
retaliation.
Yeah. Right.
Whereas the reality of it was somebody wanted that lady dead, and these guys were in the way.
Yep.
In my opinion. That's just my opinion. So they said that on Friday, 4 bullet shells recovered from the Lafayette grill were introduced into evidence. On Friday, Artis's attorney, who was cited for contempt of court for the second consecutive day when he accused Judge Bruno Leopizzi of, quote, shooting from the hip during a legal argument.
Sir.
Wow.
Another gun reference. Damn it.
Damn, I'm telling you. Steele charged the judge with deciding on the evidence before Steele presented his argument against it. Leopizzi withdrew the contempt citation because he said he realized the parties in the trial were fatigued and under pressure, and he didn't want the contempt citation to affect Steele's representation of his client. Callahan also testified that Rawls' statement to Patterson police outside the presence of the jury, Leopizzi is to decide today if Callahan will repeat that testimony before the full jury. The defense also challenged DeSimone's method of questioning Carter and Artis on June 17th, alleging their clients were not informed of their rights.
Oh.
DeSimone said both men waived their rights and gave statements voluntarily. DeSimone said Carter said, quote, I don't need a lawyer. I use my fists, not guns. That's a great fucking line.
Damn good point.
That's a guy you'd be scared of.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need a lawyer. I use my fists, not guns. You'd be like, oh, Christ, he's going to kick your ass.
My guns are my left and my right.
They said that Artis appeared to have been drinking that night, but neither defendant was hostile during questioning. Mm-hmm. And they're also talking about Kelly, the woman he allegedly beat up. The former chief fundraiser was ordered by a judge to appear and to possibly testify for the prosecution at their retrial. Mm-hmm. I don't know what she would know about a murder that happened 10 fucking years ago. What would she even know him then?
They're trying to show later bad acts? I don't know what that is.
That's what I mean. To me, nothing that happened after 1966 matters in this trial and can't be brought up. So whether it's a bad thing like this or a Bob Dylan song, either one is irrelevant to this trial. So in an affidavit filed, said the statement she is alleged to have given the prosecutor's office concerning Carter contained information and or inferences which were wholly false and untrue. Now she says this after she had accused him. She never signed the statement, which said in part that Carter told her he had recovered a stolen shotgun from Neil Morrison prior to the murders involved in the case. Uh-huh. That's what they're saying. So the second part of the statement, allegedly given by Kelly, concerned what she heard in a telephone conversation Carter had with Fred Hogan, a public defender's investigator. So you can't use somebody to spy on someone while they talk to their legal team. That's not okay. You can't do that. So no matter what, that's private information that you can't, it's whoever's there. So that makes it look like she's like an agent of the prosecution if she's standing there doing that. That's fucking nuts. So, we'll finish up with Kelly here. So according to the unsigned statement, the Hogan guy asked Carter what response Carter should give reporters when questioned him about a charge by Alfred Bello that he was offered a bribe by Hogan to recant his initial testimony, meaning Carter's guys offered him money to be on their side. So Mrs. Kelly said she never inferred from listening to Carter talk on the telephone that Hogan had paid Bello a bribe to recant his testimony. She also said she never mentioned a shotgun concerning the alleged recovery of a weapon from Morrison. She said, I said a gun, not a shotgun.
Okay.
That's what it was. Mrs. Kelly contends before Leopizzi that the statement she gave is totally false, then she could be brought before a grand jury. The statement allegedly was taken by Martin Kane, an assistant county prosecutor, in the presence of 3 investigators. Mrs. Kelly broke her friendship off with Carter, claiming he assaulted her in a hotel room where he was not charged. She's since filed a suit against him for damages, and the suit is pending. They ruled that Mrs. Kelly did not have to comply with the second part of the subpoena requiring her to produce documents, contracts, and other written materials concerning the Carter Defense Fund. Why that sounds like it could even... Oh, the one guy said, why, that sounds like it could even include a love letter.
Yeah.
We don't want to be involved in that. So, okay. Let's close that out. We'll return next time with closing arguments, and we'll find out the what the fuck happened in this trial, and
finish this up.
Is he going back, or is he is he free here? So we'll find out all of that stuff next week. Before we get to that, though, certainly you definitely want to head over to shutupandgivememurder.com, get your merchandise, get your tickets for live shows September 20th in Minneapolis specifically. Get those, and because the next night in Milwaukee's sold out.
Right.
But there are a few comps that we will release to the keep your ear to the ground, and you might hear about a few tickets becoming available. We'll announce it on social media too. So you should follow us on social media at Crime and Sports, wherever you are. And if you want those tickets, at Small Town Murder on Instagram, Small Town Pod on Facebook, all that shit. So check all of those out. Keep coming back and hanging out with us. You certainly want Patreon. Patreon.
Over there,
.com/crime and sports. Come check out all the monstrous amount of bonus material we have. Anybody $5 a month or above, a mere cup of coffee. Instead of a cup of coffee, you're going to get hundreds of back episodes. This will last so much longer than a cup of coffee, like so much longer. And then you get new ones every other week. A Crime and Sports, a Small Town Murder. You get them both.
Absolutely.
What are we going to just separate these things? No.
Jesus, no.
We're trying to bring people together, not keep them apart. So why let them keep the shows apart? This week for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about the whole Duke lacrosse fiasco. Has nothing to do with sports whatsoever. Has to do with frat parties and strippers. So we'll talk all about that. Then, Duke really has a lot going on with that between the fuck list and this.
North Carolina must be boring.
It is boring around there. There's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's quiet would be the good way to put it. So that said, also for Small Town Murder, we're going to have Brian Koberger. We're going to talk about this whole Idaho murder disaster and just the fact that I just don't like this guy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, one of those guys.
His fucking face sucks.
And I tend to be like, withhold judgment, but there's so much DNA.
Yeah.
There's just so much. There's just so much.
For Christ's sake.
There's just so much evidence that it's just a lot. It's a lot, and he's so smug about it. We really got to make fun of this asshole. He's such a hateable guy. He really is. So we'll talk all about that. That is patreon.com/crime and sports is where you find all of that. Also, while you're there, listen to, well, not there, but while you're out in the world, listen to Small Town Murder. Listen to your stupid opinions, because that shit is banging. We really want you to check that out. Please do that. Keep coming back and seeing us. That said, I'd like to hear the name. Just all the names. Give me the list of the most wonderful fucking people of the world who have donated to our Patreon and have kept this show rolling and keeping it a thing. Jimmie, hit me with them right goddamn now.
This week's executive producer is Jalen Petrie. Thank you, Jalen.
Thank you.
Amazing.
You're wonderful.
Yeah. Other producers this week are Liz Vasquez, Peyton Meadows, Gary Howard, Emma Reagan. Thank you, Emma.
Thank
Ethan
you, guys,
Preston.
all of you.
Ethan Preston quit vaping. I don't know how hard that is, but I quit smoking, and if it's that hard, good for you, Ethan. Keep
it's all nicotine.
Buddy. Yeah, and who the fuck knows what else is in a vape?
You're
crazy.
Addicted to some heavy metals or some weird kind.
I can't imagine. I'm so glad that I came up with just cigarettes.
Yeah, right? No shit.
Janice Hill continuing. Jody Pettigill. Yeah.
Pettingill.
Kyle Gothorpe. Jesus. Brendan with no last name. Bree 94. Sean Gilbert. Mallory Mottman. Hannah Diot. Diot. All right. Danielle Hurst, Amanda Sloan, Tina Phillips, Madison Schuneman, Sarah Clinton, Christy with no last name, Guillermo Ramirez, Casey Pakula, Tanya B, Chris Palmier, Leslie Donovan, Henry Wells, fucking shit. Gianna with no last name, Kiki with no last name, Shannon Roeder, Patrick Burns, Todd, T-A-D-G-H. How the fuck do you pronounce that?
Taj?
Is that Todd?
Beats the fuck out of me. You're the name guy. I don't know.
O'Leary.
You never have any answers when I hit you with a town name. You're always like, well, I don't know. Well, I don't fucking know either.
Johnny O. Lillian Lucy, Mackenzie Ortiz, Nicole Paulson. Oh, boy. Tercillin? T-R-C-I-L-I-N? What is that?
Wow.
Is that penicillin that solves something else? I don't know.
Maybe.
Tercillin?
Maybe.
Is that a real name? Fucking shit. Kelsey Kelly, Colin Kuhn, Marcus Picala, Jen Bruce, Donna Johnson, Erica Tremblay, Amy Irnese, Jason Warner, Chris Rutt,
Me Mine. Okay. All right. Danya.
Sure.
Devanya Stevens. Kel Lampier. Brandon Ohina.
I'm going to say Ohio. Brandon
Ohina, like a Spanish girlfriend. You're Heina.
Yeah.
Brandon with no last name. Sharmali Selin. Boobs McGee. I bet it's a
old
guy.
boobs.
It's got.
I'm sure it's a really cool chick.
There's no way it's a cool.
What's
chick.
happening?
100%
Boobs McGee over here,
right?
He likes boobs, I think maybe.
That's what it is. Ezekiel Aho, Cinderella Barbie 72, Emily Bennett, Brianna.
Might be a lesbian.
What is it?
Might be a lesbian.
Oh, Boobs McGee.
Yeah, it's a chick,
maybe.
but she also loves boobs. It's both.
I still think it's a dude.
I do too.
Emily Bennett, Brianna Brown, Pickles with no last name, Abigail Bosler, Sarah Nowicki, Janet Clark, Jessica Page, Kelly Brock, not La Brock, just Brock, Ashley Libby, Max with no last name, Gabriel Densley, Colin Kerfoot, Stacy Rose, Trevor Jones, Lindy Lendl, Cy Whitco, Elizabeth Ludwig, Giselle De Silva Martins, Ashton with no last name, Tabitha Santoni, Emily Rounds, Norma DiMaggio, Lisa Chamberlain, Andrew Brunel, Raheem with no last name, Dan Kloppel, that's Shannon Sellers, Tara O, Christian Gore, Brianna, that's Brittany, Brandon, Isaiah Powers, Christy Ayers, Lisa Culpepper, Lars Hollander, Erica Martinez Rodriguez, Simp Tam, I guess that's a name, Andrea Champ, that's just Cam.
I guess that's a name.
Sarah D. Giovanna, Jessica Odell, Jordan Family 6, not the fifth one, Robin with no last name, Amy B, Ryan Lindahl, Jordan Downs, Kristen, it's Stuart Nisley. Why did I say? All right. Suzanne Murphy, Tanya Hill, Liana Corbett, Jamie Wismagalo. All right. I don't know. Lilith.
I don't know.
Lilithan and Bridget with no last name. Taurus Albert, Cher Strong, Local Weedia. She's a local weed gal, I guess. Cher Strong. Cher Strong, local weed. I don't.
Share your strong weed with others.
It just may be a lady named Cher. The Lee Sachs, Caitlin Hallam, David Ramey, Stacy Bissell. Oh, of the fucking vacuum fortune. Jordan Woods, Chris C., Ashley with no last name, Rebecca Serena, Herbert Amaya, Janet. That is Janet Anderson. Rachel with no last name, Trudy Nishida, Jessica Tower. Okay. It may be Jessica. 2 C's, though. That's Jessica, right? I don't know.
That's what sounds like it.
Yeah. Shauna with no last name, Amanda Lillian, Hope Graddix, Ulysses Moore, Nicole Hess, Emma Patrick, Amy Ferrick, Caradati, Wilson M. This show brought to you by the letter M. Jennifer Bedford, Garrett Catalana, Ashley Alexander, Linnea Kelly, I don't know, Joseph Kilpatrick, Olivia Effen. This show also brought to you by the letter E. Christine.
Letter Effen.
Christine Kapp, Matthew Vuk, Chance Parks, Kayla Romani, Daniel Comer, also Daniel Blower. He combs her and also blows her.
Comb you and blow you, baby. Line them up. The old comb and blow.
Get after it, Daniel. Rihanna, Sharon with no last name, Eric Louders, Melissa, and Melissa Rush. It's Eric Louders and Melissa Rush. Two different
together.
People. Same patron. Kara Foxley, Money Wealth 123. That's where I get all my money information. Noxa with no last name. Ryan Christophic, Lionheart 091, Joy Coy. That's a fun name. Tom Kohler, Val with no last name. Lorraine Candelario, Terry Barnes, Tammy Becker, Debbie Zasso, Sean. Nope, that's Sarah. Sarah Burrows, not Sean Burrows. It's definitely Sarah Burrows, and I'm a terrible reader, but I love every patron.
Not the old third baseman. Thank you, everybody, so much for your wonderfulness, your support, and your believing in us that we will keep coming back every week. And thank you, because we will keep coming back every week. We have nowhere else to go.
For sure.
What else are we doing here?
I'm here for you.
Thank you. We're here for you, damn it. So thank you for all that you've done for us this week and every week. Tell everyone you know about this. If you want to follow us on social media, shutupandgivememurder.com has a drop-down menu and links to all that shit. Keep coming back. Keep seeing us week after week. And next week we'll finish out Rubin Carter. Yeah. We promise part 4 will be the last part. We'll find out, did he ever fucking get out of prison for good? or did he go back? Or maybe we'll find out if we did it or not. We'll find out all of that next week, live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.